A regular ring fell into the hands of this young man. Instantly, its value was magically inflated by 10,000 times, causing a frenzy among buyers eager to get their hands on it. Even from a small clothing stall, he was able to build an empire worth millions in the fashion industry. The money flowed in like a river, leaving the industry giants looking on in envy. So, you're Zhou Feng, a brilliant businessman who owns a corporation listed on the stock exchange. All because of a sip of poisoned wine, he was reincarnated into the body of a scoundrel. This man spent his days drunk, even beating his beautiful wife, causing her to cry her heart out. A wave of memories suddenly surged back, revealing to him that this was the 1980s. The woman before him was Xiao Du, and his parents had just died in a factory equipment accident. At this moment, his younger siblings, Wu Na and Wu Jing, came knocking on the door. Upon seeing his sister's bruised face, Zhao Feng couldn't help but ask, "Is this because of that guy Hu Han? Are you going to him again to talk about our parents' accident?" However, Wu Na only responded with a cold, emotionless expression. If they hadn't run out of food at home, she would never want to meet this weak-willed brother again. Without delay, he turned back to the table with his wife, handing over the remaining 5 coins along with all the food vouchers to his younger siblings. "Just keep 1 kilogram of flour for us to survive a few more days, and I'll figure something out." After settling things, Zhou Feng walked straight to the door and said, "Leave Wu Han's matter and the food situation to me." In that tone of utter determination, everyone couldn't help but be astonished. Has he really run out of uselessness? Stepping out onto the street, Zhao Feng saw nothing but bicycles and old houses. At that moment, he truly believed he had been transported back to the 1980s. After walking for a while, he finally arrived at the home of Hu Han, the workshop manager directly responsible for the accident. If he reported to his superiors and asked for burial money for the family, he could earn a good reputation, which would benefit his future promotion. However, he didn't do it, so there must be some hidden reason. As soon as they saw him, both Hu Han and his father reacted strongly. However, contrary to their expectations, Zhao Feng only gave a gentle smile to diffuse the tension, and even apologized for the trouble his younger sister had caused, making Hu Han a little more relaxed. Immediately, he put on a pitiful expression, as though he had been wronged. Of course, Zhao Feng could still detect the insincerity in his attitude. "In my past life, I had seen all sorts of situations, but I still had to go along and play along with this old man first." He then mentioned his reason for coming, which was to ask for burial money. "Now there's nothing left to eat at home, so I'd like to ask you to help me request the factory leadership for some burial funds." In the end, the kid had come here just to ask for money. When he saw that Hu Han seemed ready to refuse, Zhou Feng immediately spoke the prepared words. "If the factory doesn't provide it, then we won't be able to survive. I'll come and cause a scene every day until I get the money." Upon hearing this, Hu Han started to worry. If Zhao Feng made this a big issue, all the secrets would be exposed. So he had no choice but to speak in a softer tone, advising him that causing trouble would get them arrested. And then what would happen to his younger siblings at home? The incident at the factory was caused by a mistake made by the worker, so the funeral expenses cannot be covered. Uncle and my parents are old acquaintances. According to the hierarchy, I should also call you uncle. So I will take the responsibility of giving the money on behalf of the factory. When Zhao Feng heard this, he immediately bargained with the old man to see how much he could get. If it's too little, then it wouldn't be worth causing a ruckus at the factory. By the rules, it should be 600 yuan. But the old man claimed that his family wasn't well off, so he could only give 500. This wasn't a small amount, so Zhao Feng accepted it immediately. However, this was only the first step in the revenge plan he had already set up. The first thing he did with the money was buy a tangulu as a birthday gift for his wife. Along with that, he used half of the money he had just received, reserving the rest for his younger siblings. The first thing he did was treat the whole family to a lavish meal. Zhao Feng personally went into the kitchen, applying all the cooking skills he had from his previous life to make noodles. However, when Wu Ne came home and saw that the flour meant to last the whole month had been used up by her brother, she couldn't help but get angry. "Why did you use so much? What do you even know how to do other than selling stuff, gambling, and hitting my sister-in-law?" Seeing his younger sister's sharp words, Zhou Feng was a bit startled. "In my previous life, I was a president. I never heard anyone speak about me like that." He then reached into his pocket, pulled out a wad of money, and made her eyes widen. Sitting down at the table, He began explaining in detail the death of their parents. "Mom, this is clearly not simple. There's no way a worker with 20 years of experience would make such a mistake. Not to mention, both of them ended up in the same trouble at the same time. And Nye is the equipment that Hugh Han bought for the factory, which had safety issues. Yet he stubbornly blamed it on his parents for operating it incorrectly, probably because he feared that an inspection would expose the problem. All it takes is to find the equipment invoice from Hugh Han's side and contact the supplier. He won't be able to escape." The younger one stood there, stunned, probably not understanding what was going on. Come to think of it, I'm someone who time-traveled from the 20th century. With such convoluted thinking, it's no wonder they can't catch up. Anyway, you don't need to worry about it. I'll make sure my parents get justice. On his way home, Zhou Feng took the opportunity to enjoy a cold ice cream on the first day of autumn, even though it was still hot, as if it were summer. The scenes from his childhood that he used to dream about were now becoming reality. It's true that every era has its own unique charm. While relaxing, he suddenly ran into a group of friends, one of whom was Hu Shan, the son of Guhan. The girl next to him, dressed very well, must have been Shen Ziran, his wife's best friend. Suddenly, Hu Shan rushed forward, pointing a finger at him and scolding. "What are you looking at? Where did you come from, daring to act like a thug? I don't understand how Xiao Du could like someone like you." Ran right into my wife's schoolmates, all of them giving me that look. "The person who hates me the most is Shen Ziran." After a moment of scrutinizing Zhao Feng, she remarked, "Hu Shan, just let it go. After all, we're classmates. Let's go." But only he knew that the weakness she showed now was just part of his plan for revenge. "Hu Shan, Hu Han, you won't have peace for much longer." Once those people left, Zhou Feng sighed in relief and headed to the vegetable market, planning to make a hot pot for his wife. As he walked past the street corner, he ran into Xiao Du, who was heading the same direction. She was holding a cracked watermelon. When she saw Zhao Feng, she quickly wiped the corner of her mouth, still smeared with ice cream. She stammered, "I haven't had ice cream in a long time. Also, I bought this watermelon for you." Zhao Feng could only smile at her cute expression. He wondered just how unpleasant he must have been before for her to be so scared of him. Gently ruffling Xiao Du's hair, he said, "Now that I have money, you can buy whatever you like. And there will be even more money in the future." He then took the watermelon from her hands and thought to himself, "It doesn't matter what happened before. From now on, things will only get better." At that moment, Xiao Du was secretly looking at his back, as if she was remembering the autumn afternoon when they first met. After dinner, he went to Liu Ducking's casino. Before he could open the door, Liu Duckong rushed out as if he were trying to escape. The nagging of his wife could be heard from inside. Zhao Feng didn't even care. His attention focused solely on the third name at the gambling table, which was Chen Guda, the son of the steel factory director. Before even stepping inside, Liu Kong had already started asking to borrow money, promising to cooperate in the game. However, Zhou Feng was no longer the same Zhao Feng as before. He directly refused, using the excuse that he only had one coin left in his pocket. It wasn't until he showed signs of leaving that Liu Kong hurriedly stopped him. He pulled out 20 coins from his pocket, even more skillfully hidden than money tucked away in underwear. But who would be deceiving whom later, that was still to be seen. It turned out that Zhao Feng had long since noticed that in the previous rounds, these two had been working together to make him lose everything. So in this round, every time Liu Kong was about to win, Zhao Feng would deliberately block him, while he let Chen Guda, the son of the factory director, win and take the money. These little tricks were nothing new to Zhao Feng from his previous life, so controlling the game was child's play. In the end, Liu Kong lost everything, and frustrated, wanted to bet more to recover his losses. The moment had come, and Zhao Feng made a sarcastic remark. "You dare speak to me like that?" He stood up without hesitation. "So what? I'm saying it like this today. If you want to keep playing, but refuse to pay up, then leave. Let me remind you of something. From now on, stop causing trouble for my wife, Xiao Du. Otherwise, I'll take you down." It seemed that Chen Gudo was also a smart person, and having realized that Zhao Feng had the intention to collaborate, he didn't say anything to stop him when he saw that surprised attitude. Zhao Feng took the opportunity to speak up. "Mr. Chen is truly generous. Let's call it a day for today. Next time we meet, I'll treat you to a meal to make up for it. This time, Consider it as an opportunity to get Chen Guda's plan for my future. If not, at least it's a chance to get to know him. This is the method you used to build a billion-dollar corporation back then. The early years of the 1980s were at their peak, and many of the wealthiest people were beginning to explode in this era. Zhao Feng sat sipping tea for 5 cents, while casually eavesdropping on a nearby conversation. It was about someone's son who had quit their job at a factory to start a business. But no one knew that their jokes and conversations after dinner would later become the paintings of an era. Zhao Feng stared thoughtfully out the window. If I go back, wouldn't I be missing out on this golden age? He thought for a moment. But 20, I still have the career I've worked so hard to build. In the end, he decided that after resolving things with Hu Han, he would return to his own time. After everything was settled, he suddenly heard the roar of a motorcycle engine. Realizing that the person he had been waiting for had arrived, Zhao Feng quickly ran downstairs, pretending to say, "Mr. Chen, what a coincidence." Chen Guda scratched his head upon seeing Zhao Feng. "Right, I just finished harvesting the fruit. I'm so tired." Hearing this, Zhao Feng realized the opportunity had arrived. He invited Chen Guda into the restaurant, a perfect chance to talk about yesterday's matter. Chen Guda just laughed. What's so special about yesterday? Zhao Feng couldn't let this opportunity slip away, so he invited him to the most upscale, state-owned restaurant in the area. Seeing this, Chen Guda immediately agreed. At this time, state-owned restaurants weren't places you visited frequently, and dining there could cost a whole month's salary. Upon arriving at the restaurant, Zhao Feng called the waiter to bring the menu, and just seeing the prices made him jump in shock. Here, a plate of fish and sauce only cost 2 yuan 90. He ordered a lot of dishes and even spent 7 yuan to buy a bottle of Mao Dai liquor. Seeing this, Chen Guda couldn't help but be amused and warmed up to him. "Zhao Feng, you're ordering so much." At that moment, Zhao Feng stood up and poured him some wine. It's not easy to treat Mr. Chen to a meal, so just make yourself at home. Just then, Hu Xiaoshan and Fu Dahai also walked into the restaurant. Upon seeing Zhao Feng, Hu Xiaoshan froze for a moment, then started mocking him. "Oh, you're here too. Truly a person of low stature. I wonder what your wife is doing at home, probably scavenging for leftover food." Zhao Feng paid no mind to these words and continued eating as though he hadn't heard anything. After the group left, Chen Guda lit a cigarette. "Zhao Feng, do you have some kind of conflict with the Hu family's son?" Suddenly, a mocking expression appeared on his face. Zhao Feng shook his head. "It's just a small disagreement between some friends." Chen Guda took a drag of his cigarette and exhaled. "All right, let's not talk about that anymore." He unexpectedly shifted to discussing the events from last night. "Last night you kept giving in to me. Do you think I didn't notice?" Zhao Feng asked. "Mr. Chen, it seems like your relationship with Hu Han isn't that great, right? I feel like you're not happy whenever he's mentioned." After drinking a few more glasses, he began to talk about the relationship between his family and the Hu family. It turns out that back then, when the position of director was being elected, Hu Han supported Xu Changjiang. This led to Chen Guda losing a vote and not being elected as the director. "I remember when your father was still working. He was the one who helped Hu Han get the position of director in the second production team." He couldn't help but feel angry and slammed his fist on the table. Hu Han is truly the type to bite the hand that feeds him. Zhao Feng quickly poured more wine for Chen Guda. "Mr. Chen, calm down. Hu Han is indeed untrustworthy. And what kind of person is Xu Changjiang?" Chen Guda finished his glass of wine and said, "Xu Changjiang has very close ties with suppliers from outside the province." Hearing this, Zhao Feng began to calculate and leaned in to whisper, "Then, why don't you consider moving to another province? Why continue working for that factory?" Chen Guda sighed and said, "I would love to, but my father doesn't agree." When it came to the idea of starting a career in another province, he began to speak at length. "Last year, one of my friends went to Shanghai to work in the electronics industry, and within a short time, he earned over 100,000 coins. Zhao Feng suddenly interjected, "Oh, Mr. Chen, isn't your factory about to distribute the summer bonuses soon? I heard it's quite a lot, right?" Chen Guda nodded in confirmation. "If the bonuses are given directly to the workers, wouldn't that summer contribution of yours be yours as well?" Chen Guda immediately waved his hand. "That won't do. If the bonus is given and someone doesn't like it, they'll immediately file a complaint, and that would cause a big mess. Zhao Feng stood up and confidently patted his chest, saying, "Mr. Chen, it's not your company, it's mine." Chen Guda widened his eyes, confused. Zhao Feng explained, "We'll change the intermediary and use my name to provide the fruits." Upon hearing this, Chen Guda seemed to have an epiphany. He happily slapped Zhao Feng on the shoulder and said, "Why didn't I think of you being this smart?" In his heart, his admiration for Zhao Feng grew even deeper. They drank until after 11 p.m. before leaving the bar. Chen Guda's face was flushed from the alcohol. Zhao Feng drove him home, then walked back to his own place. As soon as he arrived, he peeked inside, fearful of waking Xiao Du. However, he noticed that she hadn't fallen asleep yet. She was sitting upright on the bed, waiting for him to return. Zhao Feng entered and asked, "Why haven't you gone to sleep yet?" "I'm sorry, I'm so late coming back." Xiao Du suddenly remembered the conversation from the morning. It turned out that Zai Ran had visited her that day and said her mother was ill and had to be hospitalized. A few days ago, her mother had repeatedly called Xiao Du's name, implying that she wanted Xiao Du and Zhao Feng to divorce. Xiao Du had reassured her that he had changed, but Shen Zai Ran had replied, "Rivers and mountains can be changed, but one's nature is hard to change. A man who's drunk all the time and beats women like he does. What do you expect from him?" Seeing Xiao Du lost in thought, Zhao Feng hurriedly asked, "Are you troubled about something?" This question pulled her back to the present. She lowered her head, tears welling up, and with a trembling voice, ran towards him, saying, "Zhao Feng, tonight you can do whatever you want." Sensing her vulnerability, he didn't know how to react. Pushing her away, he said, "I've been drinking tonight, so I'm not really in my right mind." He then stepped out into the courtyard, splashed cold water on himself to sober up, and reminded himself that he needed to face reality, not linger on things that shouldn't be. The next morning, Xiao Du went outside and looked at the small house that had once been their happy home. Can the tenderness from these past few days erase all that painful history? Thinking this, Xiao Du became even more determined. If Zhao Feng changes in time, that would be great, but I no longer have the time to wait. She immediately called her father. When her father answered the phone and recognized it was his daughter, he was surprised. "Xiao Du, what's going on?" "I'm here. Do you need help with something?" "Oh, nothing. You just want to come home." He hurriedly shouted, "Xiao Du, don't go anywhere. Stay there and wait for me to come back." At that moment, Zhao Feng had arrived at Chen Guda's fruit garden. Chen Guda happily said to him, "My father has agreed to the matter we discussed last night." Zhao Feng was overjoyed. "Well, next we need to see how your relationship with Chen Guda goes. Right now, he still seems very happy, and once the matter is settled, I'll reward you with 100 coins. When he got home, Aunt Wang saw him and announced that there were relatives visiting. He was surprised and thought it could be Xiao Du's family. When he opened the door, he saw his father-in-law, Tang Yongguang, and mother-in-law, Jiang Xin, standing in the house. They seemed to be waiting for him. He cheerfully stepped forward and greeted them. "Mom, Dad, when did you arrive?" Xiao Du did not say anything to her son. Her father coldly stared at him, and he spoke again. "Have you eaten? Mom and Dad, let me go buy some food for you too." Suddenly, his father-in-law stepped forward and slapped him hard. "This slap is on behalf of my daughter." Xiao Du turned pale at the sight and quickly shouted, "Dad, stop it." Zhao Feng stood frozen, waiting for another slap from him. Just as he was about to strike again, Xiao Du immediately rushed up and said, "Dad, that's enough." She approached and asked Zhao Feng, "Are you okay?" He lowered his head and replied, "Xiao Du, this is something I owe you. I wasn't good to you before, and I'm sorry. Stop pretending. Today, you must make up your mind to divorce Xiao Du." The mother-in-law whispered, pleading, "Zhao Feng, please let her go." Zhao Feng ignored her words and turned to ask Xiao Du, "What do you think?" Influenced by the memories of this body, Zhao Feng's emotions clashed violently. He felt suffocated by the pain, but still decided to respect her wishes. Xiao Du, unable to look him in the eye, turned away and said, "Zhao Feng, I've thought it through. Let's divorce." The two of them then went to the Civil Affairs Bureau to finalize the divorce. She approached Zhao Feng, took the money he had given her earlier, and said, "There's still 285 coins left. You keep it." He gently pushed her hand away and said, "Xiao Du, take it. I owe you so much. How can I take this money back? Moreover, if I return to my old position in the future, you must completely sever all ties with me. After I've settled things with my parents, I'll go back to the modern world. At that time, the original owner of this body will return. To protect this foolish girl, this is the only thing I can do." Xiao Du felt confused, but he didn't elaborate any further. He simply pushed her away and said, "Your parents are still waiting. You should go." Watching her figure leave, he choked up and said, "Xiao Du, take care of yourself." Xiao Du couldn't find the tears. She still loved him deeply. A few days later, Chen Guda came to Zhao Feng. "Zhao Feng, good news. The factory has decided to convert the summer welfare funds into fruit. Oh my God, just one bonus payout, and we've made more than 150 coins. How awesome is that?" "Zhao Feng, I'll give you a 200 coin bonus." Zhao Feng replied, "Now we need to prepare the packaging. If we don't do this step well, all our efforts will be in vain." He asked Chen Guda, "Do you know Du Jincheng? The factory isn't just dealing with one person." "Wow, I thought you knew him," said Chen Guda. Zhao Feng remained calm. "I don't know him either, but let's go find out." "You won't know unless you go." Chen Guda sweated nervously. "This isn't a joke. Without the packaging, we'll be exposed." Soon after, the two arrived at the nylon production factory. Chen Guda asked why they weren't going inside. To his surprise, Zhao Feng drove straight in, and the guard immediately ran over, asking who they were. Zhao Feng gave a familiar expression and said, "I need to find the owner of the factory. Why isn't anyone answering the intercom?" Hearing this, the guard believed him and pointed out that the factory owner was Mr. Lai. Zhao Feng continued to pretend. "Where's his office?" The guard directed him. "It's the first room on the left on the third floor." After thanking the guard, the two quickly drove inside. However, Chen Guda still didn't feel at ease. "Even if we go in, we don't know anyone here." Zhao Feng reassured him, "Don't worry, just stay quiet once we're in there." When they arrived at the factory owner's office, Zhao Feng knocked on the door, and Mr. Lai quickly allowed them in. Seeing two unfamiliar faces, he looked suspicious and asked, "Who are you two?" Zhao Feng stepped forward confidently and said, "Mr. Lai, hello. I'm the chairman of Guda Agricultural Products Company. It's a pleasure to meet you." Hearing this, Chen Guda couldn't help but sweat, while Mr. Lai didn't seem very pleased and immediately asked, "How did you two get in here?" Zhao Feng calmly responded, "Actually, we were planning to stop by the sea to buy some plastic bags. On our way, we wanted to drop by here, because we heard your plastic bags are of high quality. We mainly export fruits." Mr. Lai lowered his voice and said, "Exporting fruits? The plastic bags we produce are not suitable for fruits." Zhao Feng then took out a cigarette, offered it to Mr. Lai, and smiled, saying, "Mr. Lai, we came to Lin Shui to purchase olives. We're just at the packaging stage. I want to find a factory with reasonable prices, which is why we stopped by here. But the quality needs to be guaranteed because we are a large enterprise." Mr. Lai put his teacup down and asked, "Are you a state-owned enterprise or a private one?" Zhao Feng knew that the packaging product the factory needed had its own specific criteria. If it were a state-owned enterprise, an application from higher authorities would be required. But if it were a private one, it would go back to square one, and having money wouldn't necessarily guarantee an order. So Zhao Feng immediately asked Mr. Lai if he had any tea. Mr. Lai was taken aback, but then invited the two of them to drink tea. "Oh, I forgot to offer you tea. This is local tea. Please enjoy it and don't be too polite." Zhao Feng tasted the tea, then quickly changed the subject. "Mr. Lai, our demand is quite large. I wonder if your side can produce 1 ton within half a month." Mr. Lai's eyes widened in disbelief at what Zhao Feng had just said. If it's 1 ton, it might require overtime to meet that. After those words, the room fell silent. Mr. Lai thought to himself that the other party must be a state-owned enterprise. If this order were successful, the factory's profits would increase, and the workers' wages would improve. But now, he was worried that he might not be able to meet Zhao Feng's requirements. Hearing this, Zhao Feng replied happily, "That's great, Mr. Lai. We need some samples for testing." "It's no problem. That's only natural." He then led the two of them to the warehouse to pick up some products for the tests. Once they had enough plastic bags, Zhao Feng didn't stay any longer. Before leaving, he shook Mr. Lai's hand again. I will have someone call tomorrow to inform you of the testing results. With that, the two of them left. Ken Guda, holding the plastic bags, couldn't stop praising Zhao Feng. I didn't expect you to be so skillful. You got the bags without spending a penny. Zhao Feng turned to him and said, Mr. Chen, call Mr. Lai tomorrow morning to let him know the test didn't meet the standards. Don't let him hold on to false hope. Chen Guda nodded in agreement. No problem. Then the two of them headed towards Lin Shui. Chen Guda cheerfully put fruit into a bag, while Zhao Feng approached and spoke. Stop pretending. Mr. Chen, didn't you say you'd invite me to Guzu restaurant? Chen Guga mumbled. This kid really has a good memory, it's not easy to deal with. At that moment, Zhao Feng thought to himself, everything must be reciprocal. I need Liu Chong's support for my plan. Therefore, he asked Chen Guda to call Liu Chong as well. When hearing that name, Chen Guda seemed displeased. He also brought up the previous incident when Liu Chong had tried to make things difficult for him. However, Zhao Feng remained determined. Don't hesitate, just call him here. We're in the same neighborhood, it's inevitable that we'll run into each other. Soon after, at Guzu restaurant, Liu Chong was eating as if he hadn't had a meal in days, looking like a hungry wolf. Both Zhao Feng and Chen Guda could only shake their heads. After finishing his meal, as he was seeing Chen Guda off, Liu Chong suddenly asked, Are you and Chen Guda doing business together? No, we're not. Nevertheless, Zhao Feng secretly felt a sense of relief, knowing Liu Chong had fallen into his trap. Liu Chong immediately responded, Don't lie to me, I overheard everything while we were eating. Let me join you. Zhao Feng feigned hesitation, scratching his head in confusion. Liu Chong continued, Zhao Feng, we've known each other a lot longer than you and Chen Guda, right? After a moment of silence, Zhao Feng decided to tell Liu Chong everything. Upon hearing it, Liu Chong couldn't hold back and shouted, What? You're selling fruit to him, and he already gave you 200? Of course, Zhao Feng kept certain details to himself, such as the trip to the plastic bag factory. Liu Chong went on, It's not that I'm jealous or anything, but the last time we played cards, he forced me into a trap. Don't let him fool you. Zhao Feng thought to himself, Does he think I'm an idiot? But his face remained calm. Thank you for the reminder, but I have nothing to deceive. If you really want, I'll give you 50. Seeing Zhao Feng hand him 50, Liu Chong happily nodded in agreement. When they got home, Liu Chong quickly invited Zhao Feng to sit down. My wife must have gone back to her mother's house. As they entered, he asked Liu Chong whether the house was bought or rented. Ah, I rented it. I don't have the money to buy. Zhao Feng pretended to be surprised. How could that be? I heard you're the only locksmith in the village. You must be making quite a bit of money, right? Liu Chong turned his head. Don't bring it up again. I quit the trade a long time ago. I used to climb into a neighbor's house to steal, but I got caught in the act. Zhao Feng seemed interested and immediately asked him to demonstrate. Liu Chong quickly got to work. He took a piece of wire and inserted it into the lock. After a few twists, he successfully unlocked it. In his mind, Zhao Feng thought, Wow, he really does have skill, though his personality is a bit strange. Immediately, he asked Liu Chong to teach him, but Liu Chong waved his hand to refuse. This can't get out. I'm afraid you might go down the wrong path. Zhao Feng made an offer. Tomorrow, after we distribute the fruit, I'll give you 100. Is that all right? Hearing that he could earn money, Liu Chong's eyes lit up like headlights. Fearing Zhao Feng might have second thoughts, he quickly gave him the instructions. The next day, both of them arrived at the Lin Shui steel factory. Zhao Feng, dressed as a farmer and wearing a straw hat, looked no different from a genuine fruit vendor. Ken Guda couldn't stop praising him. You're really professional. The fruit has already been delivered to the warehouse. After that, he didn't want to show his face too much. When the clock struck 12, the factory employees gathered to have lunch. They distributed the fruit here, saving both time and effort. Just as they were handing out the fruit, Zhao Feng suddenly exclaimed. Liu Chong immediately asked, What's going on? Zhao Feng held his stomach and seriously said, I have a terrible stomachache. I think I need to go to the bathroom. Before Liu Chong could notice anything unusual, he saw Zhao Feng running to the restroom, while shouting, I can't hold it anymore. You keep handing out the fruit, I'll be back soon. No one knew this was part of Zhao Feng's plan. While everyone was eating, He had to act quickly. He headed to Hu Han's office and found the door was still locked. This guy even locks the door when he goes to eat. Truly a crafty old fox, Zhao Feng thought to himself. Luckily, he had prepared in advance. Using a steel wire, he unlocked the door and quickly entered, but the purchase receipt inside didn't contain the necessary information. His eyes scanned the items on the shelves. Zhao Feng thought to himself, Hu Han can't possibly not read books. There must be a clue here. When he opened one of the boxes, he found a receipt for machinery inside. Old man, you'll pay for this, Zhao Feng muttered. A while later, Zhao Feng returned to the dining area. Liu Qiang could not hide his anger. He said, you spent way too long messing around in the bathroom. I just finished my meal, and you're only coming back now. Zhao Feng took out 100 coins from his pocket, threw them straight at Liu Qiang, and then turned to leave. Liu Qiang pretended to be submissive. Thank you, Mr. Zhao. Please feel free to go outside and relax. I'll take care of everything else. On the way, his thoughts suddenly shifted. He thought, a small-time production supervisor dares to falsify notarizations to embezzle 2.5 million coins. Truly, he's asking for his own downfall. Not long after, he met Zhang Zi'er and Hu Xiaoshan. As soon as Hu Xiaoshan saw Zhao Feng approaching, he immediately challenged him. Zhao Feng, do you still have time for a stroll? Guess being divorced gives you a lot of free time, huh? Xiao Du should have broken up with you a long time ago. Zhao Feng ignored the mockery and walked straight toward Zhang Zi'er. Hu Xiaoshan, feeling ignored, couldn't contain his anger and rushed over, grabbing Zhao Feng's arm and shouting, Kid, you dare to look down on me. Zhao Feng could not stay silent any longer and immediately responded, How dare a lowlife like you pick a fight? With that, he shoved Hu Xiaoshan's hand away. Before long, Hu Xiaoshan fell to the ground. With his face red with anger, Hu Xiaoshan grumbled, Just because you got a little help from your dad? Why you look so proud of yourself? Zhao Feng waved him off dismissively. Hu Han, you mean? He won't be around much longer. Hu Xiaoshan, think about it. Had your dad shown any signs of something strange since April? Hearing that, Hu Xiaoshan immediately felt worried, his mind flashing with the strange actions of his father recently. He stuttered, unable to say anything, while Zhao Feng, after a brief sentence, turned around and walked away, leaving behind the words, Didn't you already understand in your heart? He directly went to Zi'er's place and asked, Can I borrow your phone for a moment? Zhang Zi'er agreed and led him to her house. She asked where he wanted to make the call. The thing was, Zhao Feng had noted down the factory's phone number on the invoice earlier. He replied, Segnan Equipment Factory. I need to contact Mei Qinbao. He read out the phone number and quietly waited. After a moment, the call was connected. As soon as Zhao Feng picked up the phone, he heard a deep voice on the other end. This is Mei Qinbao. Zhao Feng informed him. I'm looking for Mei Qinbao. I'm calling from the Lin Shui Steel Factory. Mei Qinbao glanced at the screen and seeing the number wasn't from Lin Shui, suspiciously asked, What's going on? Zhao Feng explained that this was a new number, and since it was an urgent matter, he had to borrow a phone to make the call. He then raised his tone. You need to listen carefully. On the 6th of the month, the batch of equipment that Hu Han purchased from your company had quality issues because the parts you provided didn't meet the requirements, which led to a serious incident at our factory. It even caused a death. Now we have to pursue criminal liability against you. Mei Qinbao couldn't help but ask in surprise. What are you talking about? Hu Han called me back then. He clearly said there was no need to change the parts. Zhao Feng emphasized. Why does the invoice clearly state that you said this? Hearing that, he immediately responded. Impossible. I need to contact the owner of the Kang Jinjiang factory right away to clarify the situation. After saying that, he quickly hung up the phone. At that moment in the office, Kang Jinjiang was leisurely sipping tea. When the phone rang, he quickly answered. Mr. Kang, I have not signed any sales contract with Hu Han. Kang Jinjiang was stunned. What? Does that mean Hu Han has not signed any contract with you in the past 3 months? That's right. Just now, someone from your factory called to question me and demanded that I take responsibility. What exactly is going on? Kang Jinjiang felt something was wrong, so he hurriedly asked for the phone number that Mei Qinbao had provided. After hanging up, He looked at the number and thought to himself, this isn't from the factory. Couldn't be a report. Furthermore, they might have evidence. Right after September, the peak of the second ship's production bind happens, with numbers reaching up to 3 million coins. If Huhan forged the invoice, where did the equipment come from? As he thought about this, a terrifying idea suddenly flashed through Kang Jin-jong's mind. The incident was related to the death of the couple who had mistakenly pressed the button on the machine earlier during the second shift. Could this be because of that? He quickly ran to the phone and ordered the second shift to stop all machine operations without informing Huhan. Then, he called Zhao Feng's number. Meanwhile, he was calmly waiting for the call he had anticipated. As soon as the phone rang, he felt a surge of joy. Hearing Zhao Feng pick up, Kang Jin-jong quickly introduced himself. Zhao Feng confirmed, "You are holding enough evidence to charge Huhan." At that moment, Kang Jin-jong was drenched in cold sweat, thinking that if things went as expected, the other party was likely demanding some money. If his superiors found out about this, his position as the factory director could be over. Zhao Feng continued, "Huhan forged the sales contract with the Exin equipment factory and embezzled over 3 million coins. Then, he signed another contract worth 500,000 coins with a different construction company, purchasing exactly the same number of parts from Exin. Upon hearing this, Kang Jin-jong felt as if he had been struck by lightning. He trembled and asked, "Do you have the evidence in hand right now?" Zhao Feng replied, "Absolutely." Kang Jin-jong quickly reassured, "I will come to you immediately." Zhao Feng agreed to the plan. Before ending the call, he reminded him to report to the police first, and it would be best if he did so in his capacity as the director of the Lin Shui Steel Factory. Doing so would help him avoid harsher penalties. Kang Jin-jong nodded, "I understand." After hanging up, he began to reflect on what Zhao Feng had said. Although he didn't know him well, he was surprised by Zhao Feng's foresight and careful thinking. In fact, Zhao Feng was helping Kang Jin-jong so that he would owe him a favor later. Moreover, reporting to the police in his name would be far more effective. Zhang Zai observed Zhao Feng and wondered, "A few minutes ago, you called the owner of the Lin Shui Steel Factory, right? And it seemed like you were discussing something important. Why had Zhao Feng suddenly become so unfamiliar?" Outside the Lin Shui Steel Factory, Kang Jin-jong drove to Zhang Zai's house. When he heard the knock on the door, Zhao Feng didn't expect him to arrive so quickly. He opened the door and was stunned when he realized that the man standing before him was the father of the ill-fated couple. Kang Jin-jong took the evidence from him and looked at the receipts in his hand. These documents were enough to implicate Huhan. He patted Zhao Feng on the shoulder and said, "Young man, this is impressive. What's your name?" Zhao Feng waved his hand and said, "Factory owner Kang. This has nothing to do with me. I'm just trying to gather evidence for the factory." There was another sound of hurried footsteps from outside the door. The police had arrived. Kang Jin-jong turned to look at Zhao Feng, who again acted as if he didn't know anything. He understood that this was his opportunity to make a contribution, so he handed the receipts to the police. These receipts had been found in Huhan's office and were directly linked to the deaths of the two individuals. The specific details, however, were for Zhao Feng to explain. After saying this, he patted Zhao Feng on the shoulder again. Before long, the police had a clear understanding of the situation. They asked Zhao Feng, "Did Huhan know he was in the red?" He calmly replied, "Perhaps not, but if we control his family members, it might be easier to catch him." The police were surprised. "How do you know these things?" But they didn't dwell on it further, only feeling that Zhao Feng was not an ordinary person. One of them turned to Kang Jin-jong, inviting him to come to the station for a visit. At the Lin Shui factory, Huhan was leisurely enjoying tea in his office, completely unaware of the imminent danger. Suddenly, he felt something suspicious near the books, which made him startle and dropped his teacup. When he opened it up to check, he found no receipt. He suddenly remembered the farmer in the hat from the morning, and that feeling of familiarity came rushing back. Immediately, he thought of Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng arrived at the house of his younger siblings, Lin Qian and Lam. Nam was surprised to see him. Wuna asked, "Why are you here?" "Ah, I have something I want to discuss with you." Lin Qian and Lam exchanged looks, feeling it wasn't appropriate to stay, and said they would come back another time. Zhao Feng then explained to them that he had taken care of Huhan's matter and that they didn't need to worry anymore. Unexpectedly, Wu Mel pointed behind him, shocking everyone. That's Hu Han. Zhao Feng immediately turned around and saw Hu Han standing at the door, furious. He quickly positioned himself in front of his younger siblings and signaled for them to go inside, determined to handle the issue himself. Hu Han glared. It's really you. Give me back my things. With that, he rushed forward to attack. However, Zhao Feng skillfully dodged and twisted his arm. What are you talking about? I haven't taken anything from you. Tell me clearly, is it Hexinan's stuff or someone else's? Hu Han began to worry and urgently asked him to produce the contract. Zhao Feng immediately kicked him to the ground. Hu Han, it seems like you still don't understand the situation, he said while grabbing a broken bottle from the shelf. Do you understand now? Hu Han trembled and replied, I understand. Zhao Feng immediately punched him in the face, sending him crashing to the ground. Now, what do you want to do? He stared at him with cold, sharp eyes. Right now, I want to settle the score regarding my parents and my sister. Upon hearing this, Hu Han started to justify himself. Your parents' issue has nothing to do with me. Honestly, I'm also very upset about what happened. Just hand over the contract. That belongs to the state. If it's discovered, we'll both end up in prison. Zhao Feng threw the bottle down and put his arm around his shoulders. Is it that dangerous? Then let's go find it. There has to be a way to hide this. There's no way it can be carried around like this. As they left, he turned to his siblings, signaling that everything was fine. Once outside, Hu Han immediately asked him where he had hidden the contract. Don't rush, Mr. Hu. First, let's talk about the money. I don't have any money. I gave it all to you last time. Zhao Feng didn't say much. He simply punched him again. Stop wasting time. If not, I'll hand the contract over to Kang Jinzhong. He asked him where he had hidden the 2.5 million coins he had embezzled. Seeing that Zhao Feng knew about the matter, Hu Han no longer bothered to hide anything. Zhao Feng continued, let's be straightforward, I don't need much. Seeing that Hu Han was still hesitating, he continued to affirm, don't worry, I've already joined forces with you. If you're not careful, you'll fall into your own trap. Wait until July when we buy the equipment, buy an extra batch of new equipment, then exchange it with the inferior equipment. By then, no one will know what happened, right? Hu Han trembled and stood up. Then let's go. Afterward, the two of them went to the tomb of Hu Han's family. He didn't expect the man to have divided the money into several parts, one of which contained 100,000 coins, hidden in the ancestral tomb. He handed the money to Zhao Feng. Don't go back on your word. Zhao Feng opened the bag, looked at the money inside, and thought to himself, the plan is complete. When they got back to the street, he told Hu Han to wait for a moment. I'll go into the store and buy a few things. A while later, he came out of the store and turned to him. Change out of those dirty clothes. Otherwise, people will definitely be suspicious. Haha, you think ahead so carefully, he replied. After changing his clothes, Hu Han asked Zhao Feng where the contract was hidden. Zhao Feng answered that it was under the red tiles, next to the trash can under his house. Hu Han was upset and scolded. Why would you put something so important there? Hurry up and go home to get it with me. When they arrived at his house, the factory president was waiting for Hu Han, and it seemed that he was very surprised. Seeing him, the chairman immediately exclaimed, he is Hu Han. Suddenly, police from all directions rushed in to arrest him. Hu Han, behave yourself, they shouted. Hu Han looked at Zhao Feng, feeling a bitter pang in his heart. It was at that moment that he realized why Zhao Feng had asked him to change into clean clothes. It was to avoid suspicion. With these neat clothes, it was hard for anyone to associate him with someone who had been digging around in the cemetery. Surely, taking him along hadn't been an easy task. From the very beginning, when Zhao Feng demanded a compensation of 500 coins, it had all been part of the plan. Thinking this, he looked up at the sky and screamed, let me go, before fainting. Hearing the shouts echoing in his ears, Zhao Feng simply said, Xiao Du, it's time to wrap up the Hu Han matter, you should go now. When he returned home in the evening, he informed Wu Na that Hu Han had been arrested. He said that tomorrow, the higher-ups would announce this information. After that, he told everyone that he would be bringing something out shortly and asked them not to scream. Don't get too excited, he emphasized. The younger siblings exchanged curious looks. Zhao Feng took out a money bag, raised it high, and then money spilled out onto the table. Wu Na and Wu Yu couldn't help but gasp. He quickly put his finger to his lips, signaling them to be quiet. The two girls asked, "Where did you get all this money from?" His gaze grew somber. "This money was paid for with my parents' lives." Then, he recounted the entire plan and everything that had happened to his younger sisters. "Wuna, keep this money safe. If you ever have more than enough in the future, discuss it with Wu Yu. And if I ever become as wicked as I was before and come asking for money, do not give me a single cent," Zhou Feng said, shaking his finger as he spoke. Hearing his words, the two sisters seemed confused, not fully understanding the meaning behind them. He stood up, preparing to leave. "Wuna, make sure to keep the money safe." As he was about to leave, Wuna called out, "Big brother, stay and have a meal with us." Zhao Feng smiled and shook his head. "Now that we have money, let's go out and eat together." Outside, he sighed, "This might be the last time. I must go back now." Zhao Feng planned to return to 202 in the evening, to continue his journey towards becoming a big boss. That night, he stopped at a shop and bought 2 bottles of Hanoi beer, which he drank non-stop when he got home. In his drunken state, the image of Xiaodu, his current wife, vaguely appeared in his mind. He murmured in his stupor, "Wu Na, Wu Yu, Wu Jing, goodbye everyone." After saying that, he continued drinking his beer. Slowly, he lost consciousness. In his dream, it felt like he had returned to 202, seeing his own altar and the experiences of the past. The next morning, as Zhou Feng slowly opened his eyes, he realized that he was still in this era. He let out a frustrated yell. "Damn it, can I not go back? Who on earth is making a memorial altar for me? And the cremation too. That means there's no hope of returning anymore." Thinking of this, although irritated, he accepted the reality that he could not go back, and thus decided to continue with the unfinished tasks here. If I had known from the start that I couldn't return, I wouldn't have let go. Looking at the photo taken with Xiaodu, he couldn't help but think, Zhang Zai will definitely contact Shen Ziran. In the end, Shen Ziran will find a way to reach Xiaodu. With that thought, he felt somewhat reassured about losing contact with her. Realizing he couldn't return, Zhou Feng was about to go into the kitchen to cook some noodles when a few younger brothers came to visit. He grabbed a packet of noodles and said, "Let's eat together." Wuna hesitated for a moment, then called out, "Big brother, today we bought some meat. Come to our house and eat with us." Zhao Feng happily agreed, and on the way back, the younger brother looked up and said, "Big brother, from now on, stay at home." Zhao Feng smiled and ruffled his head, replying, "Take it slow, we'll figure it out when my house expires." At this point, Wuna also spoke up. "Big brother, the story about Hu Han is spreading all over Lin Shui now. Not only him, but even his relatives involved in the case have been arrested." Zhao Feng smiled and sniffed, saying, "It's all been planned. Besides, the chances of him escaping the death penalty are very low." At the same time, Liang and Man also arrived at Zhang Zai's house. As soon as the door opened, Man rushed in. "Let Zaire go. Help us. You have a good relationship with Dai Hai and Zhao Feng. Please ask him to help us." She spoke while crying, leaving Zaire feeling confused. At that moment, Fu Daohai came out from inside, hearing the sound of crying. "What's going on? Take your time and explain." Tian Liang immediately spoke up. "Here's the thing. Xiao Shan's father is attracting attention all over the city. I heard he's been arrested, and Zhou Feng is a witness at the police station." Fu Daohai sighed in relief and asked, "What does that have to do with me? You didn't interfere, so why worry?" Tan Liang replied, "Maybe it's not what you think. That day, Man and I ran into him on the street, joked around with him a bit. When we were leaving, he said, 'The evidence is still in my hands and Man's.' We didn't think much of it at the time. But after Xiao Shan got arrested, I found out that Zhao Feng had told the police he got the evidence from him." Liu Man quickly spoke up. "Normally, Liang and I have a close relationship with Xiao Shan. Do you think the police might arrest us too?" As soon as she finished speaking, her legs suddenly weakened. Hearing this, Fu Daohai thought for a moment. "I wonder if Zhou Feng is reporting to the police right now. Should we go check?" Meanwhile, Zhou Feng was at his younger sibling's house, feeling very happy. His sister had bought a lot of vegetables and meat today, and he had gone into the kitchen to help. He turned to Wu Jing and asked, How are your cooking skills? Wu Jing picked up the chicken leg and took a bite. This is the best. You're so talented. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. Zhao Feng stood up to open the door and saw Fu Dahai standing there. He teased him. Hey, don't tell me the smell of food has lured you here. At that moment, the people who had been hiding behind Fu Dahai stepped forward and greeted Zhao Feng. He was surprised and thought to himself, are these people from the Black Suit organization? He then invited them in, turned around, and called out to Wu Jing to bring 8 more pairs of chopsticks for the guests. But Tian Liang immediately waved his hand and said, Zhao Feng, it's fine. We've already eaten. We're here mainly to settle a few misunderstandings. Zhao Feng took another bite of the chicken leg and asked, Misunderstandings? I don't remember any misunderstandings. Tian Liang looked at Fu Dahai. Fu Dahai cleared his throat. Zhao Feng, have you reported the situation with Tian Liang and Liu Man to the police yet? No, not yet, but I was planning to eat first and then go. Upon hearing this, Tian Liang and Liu Man were so frightened they nearly cried. Standing behind Fu Dahai, she pinched him, causing Fu Dahai to wince in pain and quickly beg for mercy. Fu Dahai immediately turned to Zhao Feng and said, Actually, it's not like that, Zhao Feng. The two of them have nothing to do with Huhan. You don't have to be so heartless. All right, you're right. Then I won't report it to the police. Upon hearing this, Fu Dahai's face lit up with joy. He patted Zhao Feng on the shoulder and affirmed, I told you, Zhao Feng wouldn't be that heartless. He never really wanted to report it to the police. He just wanted to scare the two of them. To him, their actions were like children playing around. After Fu Dahai's people left, Wu Na began to study. He sat next to her, checked her work, and said, Wu Na, you got this one wrong. Wu Na looked at him with Wang Hu, Yi Wen, and then stood up to make room for him. He sat down and corrected the mistakes for her. When Wu Na saw the answers, she couldn't believe her eyes. Oh my God, is this really my older brother? After finishing teaching Wu Na, he started thinking about the future. When Wu Na finishes her exams, my plan is to go to Jihai to start a business. Interestingly, my ex-wife, Xiao Du, also lives there. Looking at the expressions of his younger siblings in the family, he couldn't help but feel warmth and happiness. This is what a real family is like, so cozy. Time passed quickly, and Wu Na was about to take her college entrance exams. One day, after dropping Wu Na off at the exam site, it suddenly started to rain. He thought, it's time to prepare for the move to Jihai. On the way back, the rain had stopped. He suddenly remembered, we're out of pork at home, so I'll make crispy fried pork for the kids. On the road, he overheard 2 old men selling vegetables discussing Huhan. Not only had they found money in Mr. Hu's tomb, but they had also discovered many valuable items from the tombs of other relatives nearby. When Zhao Feng approached, he crouched down to eavesdrop on their conversation, accidentally breaking a vegetable stalk in his hand. Embarrassed, he said, I'll buy this. Afterward, he quickly returned home and suddenly realized something. It was terrible. How could I forget that this world is so different from the one I used to live in? In this era, goods don't circulate as quickly, especially in a small place like Lin Shua. I have taken a large sum of money from Huhan, and it's hard to imagine when I'll ever spend all these 100,000 coins. If the amount that Huhan embezzled doesn't match the money he mined, the police will surely investigate immediately. At that point, Huhan won't let me off. Even though I've contributed to this case, if the amounts don't add up, they will definitely start investigating me. As soon as he got home, he shouted, Wu Yu, bring that money here. Something big is happening. He then took the 100,000 coins to Huhan's grave. When he was sure no one was around, he approached a particular spot and saw that the earth was still intact. Lucky the police haven't been here yet. Everything is still possible. Zhao Feng let out a sigh of relief and quickly buried the money. Meanwhile, at the temporary detention center, Officer Zhao was interrogating Kang Jinzhong about the disappearance of the 100,000 coins. Huhan was adamant that Zhao Feng was the one who had taken money. It's unbelievable. This matter was a collaboration between me and Zhao Feng. Would he really harm himself like that? Officer Zhao sternly repeated every word. Factory owner Kang, these are the 100,000 coins, and we will now proceed with questioning him. Kang Jinzhong, worried, quickly suggested, could I meet Zhao Feng first? Officer Zhao firmly rebutted, factory owner Kang, If it weren't for our long-standing acquaintance, I might have suspected you first. We must be clear between public and private matters, and emotions should be set aside. Kang Jin-jong watched the back of Officer Zhao, feeling anxious and unsure of what to do. If Zhao Feng really had the money, then the matter would be settled. Before leaving, Officer Zhao had instructed his subordinates to keep an eye on Kang Jin-jong and not allow him to leave until Zhao Feng was caught. Meanwhile, Zhao Feng was leisurely enjoying his ice cream. Earlier, he had been wondering to himself, do I really belong in this world, or will I soon have to leave, with an air of arrogance and self-importance? Fortunately, everything still seemed to be manageable in time. When he saw two old men playing chess, Zhao Feng couldn't help but comment on the game. A moment later, as the old men, fuming with anger, were about to scold him, the police arrived and took him into custody. In the interrogation room, the police directly asked him about the 100,000 coin. What money are you talking about, Chief? Did Hu Han tell you this? Zhao Feng appeared surprised. Officer Zhao slammed the table in anger and shouted, Zhao Feng, don't take that tone with me. I'm asking you to answer, not to question me back. Zhao Feng raised his hand, signaling his innocence. I didn't lie to you. Hu Han came to my house and asked for specific evidence. And then what happened? Officer Zhao pressed on. Didn't you say you had evidence to charge him, and then demand 100,000 yuan to let him off? Zhao Feng trembled, insisting that this wasn't the case. He wasn't pretending. He was genuinely afraid of being exposed. Slowly he responded, Hu Han killed my parents. I followed him just to make it easier to catch him. Then, he boldly declared that a person like him deserved to be imprisoned for life. Seeing his expression, Officer Zhao began to believe that he was truly wronged, and asked him to calm down and recount the entire story. Kang Jin-jong stood outside, overhearing, and couldn't help but burst into laughter. Zhao Feng had presented 2 points to Officer Zhao. First, Hu Han asked me to dig the grave. But that day I clearly remember he was dressed very neatly. Second, could it be that he was just trying to save some money for his son, Hu Xiaoshan? Upon hearing this, Officer Zhao thought for a moment and then decided to go outside to check Hu Han's records, especially regarding the location where he had given Zhao Feng the 100,000 coin. After a while, the officer returned and reported that, indeed, the money was still at the grave and had not disappeared. Kang Jin-jong immediately burst into laughter, then took out a pack of cigarettes and handed one to Officer Zhao. Officer, you've had a hard time lately. Officer Zhao replied, all right, stop pretending now. You can go. By the time he was released, it was already late in the evening. Kang Jin-jong originally intended to invite him to Guzu restaurant to celebrate. But Zhao Feng said that he didn't even know what was going on at home, so he had to head back first. Before leaving, he shyly said, oh, by the way, Boss Kang, I need to ask you to quickly send the compensation money to my parents. You know my family is going through a tough time right now. Kang Jin-jong patted him on the shoulder and laughed. Don't worry, I've already written the request a long time ago, and the higher-ups have signed it. You'll definitely get the notice in the next 2 days. After that, he expressed his intention to invite him to work at the factory. But Zhao Feng had no interest. He planned to go to Jihai to complete the transaction. A small factory could never hold him for long, so he politely declined. Meanwhile, Kang Jin-jong couldn't understand why he refused, as this was a job many people dreamed of. The next morning, Zhao Feng saw the children and Zhang Zier playing happily. He thought to himself, does she have so much free time? He called her over. When Zhang Zier turned around and saw Zhao Feng, she couldn't help but be startled. Oh my God, my ugly image has been ruined. This time, he came to make a phone call. Upon entering the house, he pointed to the phone and asked Zhang Zier, do you have Xiao Du's number? Can you contact her for me? Zhang Zier paused and remembered what Shen Ziran had said, that she must not give him Xiao Du's phone number. Seeing her hesitate, Zhao Feng asked again, you can't give it to me? Zhang Zier shook her head as if to refuse, stammering, I don't have her number. He thought to himself that this girl was really bad at lying. He then asked, well, you must have Shen Ziran's phone number, right? Zhang Zier turned her back and refused to disclose Shen Ziran's number, which made Zhao Feng unexpectedly exclaim, so are you deliberately not giving me her number? Why, Zier, I understand you. I used to behave terribly, like a scoundrel at the bottom of society. But over the years with Chiao Du, I truly want to say goodbye. Hearing these words, Zhang Zier noticed his eyes darken. She didn't say anything more. He raised his hand to bid her farewell and left. Well then, I'll be on my way. After Zhao Feng had disappeared from sight, Zhang Zier stood still for a moment. His face and the events that had transpired made her feel that Zhao Feng had truly changed. Now Zhang Zier was unsure. I wonder if I should intervene in their relationship. A week later, Zhao Feng was at home cooking noodles, looking like a professional chef. Just then, Chen Guda visited and cheerfully exclaimed, Zhao Feng, the compensation has come through. The workshop owner will bring it over tonight. Zhao Feng calmly replied, Mr. Chen, why are you more excited than I am? Chen Guda approached. What are you doing? Oh, I'm just cooking noodles. When he leaned in, the bowl of noodles was empty. Chen Guda then said, Now that the money is here, why not add an egg to make it taste better? The total compensation is almost 4,000 coins. Go ahead and crack an egg to celebrate. Then he started rambling. Aunt Wang's chickens were taken by those Super Cub guys. Now I have nowhere to borrow eggs from. A while later, the noodles were ready. Chen Guda tasted them and couldn't stop praising. Wow, this broth is so clear. It tastes amazing. Next time you make noodles, be sure to call me over to eat. Zhao Feng interrupted. Mr. Chen, I plan to go to Jihai to develop my career, and I'll be leaving tomorrow. Upon hearing this, Chen Guda was surprised. He had initially thought Zhao Feng was just looking for a job, but he never expected him to decide to start his own business. That evening, someone knocked on the door, and it turned out to be Kang Jinzhong. He asked, I heard you're leaving for Jihai tomorrow. Mr. Kang, come in and we can talk more comfortably. It's not ideal to discuss here. After entering, Zhao Feng poured tea for him. Kang Jinzhong tapped the table, showing his approval. You're quite the person. If Chen Guda hadn't told me, I would have thought you were planning to leave in secret. Actually, I was planning to wait for you to arrive before I spoke about it. Seeing Zhao Feng's sharp demeanor, he couldn't help but comment. You're quite the smooth talker. It seems like you're leaving the factory to find a better job in Jihai. Right. Zhao Feng laughed and scratched his head before continuing the conversation. You're overpraising me. I'm just going to a big city to do some small work. You're being too modest. Honestly, I'm still very curious about how you got your first contract. Zhao Feng thought to himself, Kang Jinzhong is the owner of the Lin Shui Steel Factory, and his future is as bright as a fluorescent light bulb. Determined to build a relationship with this person, he decided to share everything, including the tricks he had used, and asked him to keep it confidential. A moment later, Kang Jinzhong fully understood the situation, and he was stunned. This kid is really something. This is unbelievable. If I were in that situation, I probably wouldn't have managed to do even half of what you did. The two of them chatted for a long time until Kang Jinzhong left. Before he left, he said, Zhao Feng, whenever you get to Jihai, if you encounter any difficulties, feel free to call me. Ha! Thank you for your kindness. I'll remember it. After seeing Kang Jinzhong off, he breathed a sigh of relief. Finally, he had gotten the money and seen the person off. Now, all that was left was to pack his things and head back. Ah, right, I might stay in Jihai for a long time, so there's something I need to do right away. He brought a color TV to Wuna's house. Wuna, seeing this, quickly asked, Why are you bringing a TV here in the middle of the night? Is something going on? Zhao Feng stepped into the house and said, Oh, the TV is really heavy now. You're still standing there. Come help me out. I can't hold it much longer. After placing the TV on the table, he was exhausted. Wuna asked Wu Yu to pour him some water, and then he seriously informed them. Tomorrow, I'm going to Jihai. Wuna, surprised, asked, You're leaving tomorrow? Yes, I'm leaving tomorrow morning. I'll only bring 500 coins with me. The rest of the money, make sure to keep it safe. Wu Yu, concerned, asked, Do you think 500 is enough? Jihai is a big city. The cost of living is pretty high. He patted his little sister's head and smiled. It's enough. I'm going there to earn money, not to spend it. Has Wu Jing gone to sleep yet? Wu Nell went to Wu Jing's room and said he had so much fun today that he's already fast asleep. Wu Yu asked if they should wake up their little brother. He shook his head. No need, just check on him for me. Zhao Feng stood by the door, looking at his younger brother who was fast asleep. Wu Jing, I'm leaving. The next morning, he packed his belongings, not forgetting to take the photo of him and his wife, Xiao Du. When he stepped outside, he saw Chen Guda waiting for him. Zhao Feng asked in surprise, "Why are you here?" "Well, since I left early this morning, I didn't get a chance to treat you to a meal." Zhao Feng smiled and got into his car. Chen Guda drove him to the bus station. On the way, Zhao Feng slipped his hand into the pocket of Chen Guda's pants and discreetly took the pack of cigarettes he had just bought. At the bus station, Zhao Feng said his goodbye. "I'm off now." Chen Guda also felt reluctant to part. Zhao Feng had truly settled in well here. On his way back home, Chen Guda searched everywhere but couldn't find his pack of cigarettes. Though a bit amused and helpless, he decided not to worry about it. When he arrived at Jihai, Zhao Feng was taken aback by the bustling crowds and traffic. Jihai was truly much more prosperous and modern than Lin Shui, with all the hallmarks of a big city. While he was observing, a voice suddenly rang out. "Hey, handsome, want to spend the night with me, or perhaps stay at my place?" A middle-aged woman appeared behind him, handing him a small business card that read, "Heart-to-Heart Guest House." Curious, he immediately asked, "Is your place reputable?" Upon hearing this, the woman immediately became excited. "My place is completely legitimate. My name is Lan. My husband's name is Mang. We offer both formal and informal services. Anything you need, we have." Zhao Feng felt panicked and quickly stepped back, but the woman seemed unconcerned by his refusal and dragged him into the group of women there. At that moment, a bus appeared, and he hurried toward it, shouting loudly, "Wait, there's one more person." Once aboard the bus, he held the map in his hand and silently thought that he needed to find a cheap place to stay first. Otherwise, how could he afford to live, let alone think about earning money? Meanwhile, Shen Ziran was calling a taxi company to book a ride with the number 411. Before long, the car arrived, and the driver waved at her. "Ziran, over here, get in the car." Shen Ziran smiled and asked Shi Jiang, "How will you thank me?" Shi Jiang smiled and replied, "She's very beautiful, but she's been married before." Upon hearing this, Shen Ziran pouted, "I already told you about Xiao Du's situation earlier." Then she teased further, and seeing her upset, Shi Jiang simply chuckled and said, "I was just joking. How could I criticize someone you've introduced to me?" Though he didn't truly feel that way, he was willing to meet a divorced woman just to build a connection with her, and outwardly, he remained polite. They quickly arrived at Xiao Du's workplace, which was a library in Jihai. Since her mother had helped her find this job, all she did every day was organize books, and her longing for Zhao Feng had gradually lessened. At this point, Shen Ziran and Shi Jiang had already entered. Ziran called Xiao Du. "It's almost time to get off work. Wait for me a bit." Having the family introduce a potential date is one thing, but even Shen Ziran is introducing someone. This is really exhausting. Before long, it was time to finish work, and the two people outside were chatting happily. Suddenly, Shi Jiang spotted a familiar figure and turned around, only to see Xiao Du. His heart skipped a beat. Although Xiao Du had divorced, she was still incredibly beautiful, with a perfect figure and the aura of a celebrity. Shen Ziran introduced the two of them to each other, and after getting acquainted, Ziran suggested going to see a movie. "There's a really hot movie right now." The three of them quickly got in the car and left. It wasn't long before they arrived at the cinema. Shen Ziran saw a familiar face and rolled down the window to call out to Zhou Jun, but it seemed he didn't hear her. She asked Shi Jiang to stop the car and went over. When she called again, Zhou Jun finally realized someone was calling him. He was surprised to see it was Shen Ziran and Xiao Du. She said, "If you're not busy, Zhou Jun, come get in the car and go watch the movie with us." Zhou Jun initially intended to refuse, but Shen Ziran opened the door and pulled him in. Besides, since he had a business partnership with Ziran, he also wanted to build a better relationship with her. Once in the car, Ziran patted Zhou Jun on the back and introduced him to Xiao Du and Shi Jiang. "Hello everyone, this is a close friend of mine and also my colleague." Zhou Ju and Shi Jiang turned around to greet him. Zhou Jun politely responded, then leaned over and whispered to Ziran, "Ziran, the company isn't paying salaries this week. They said they'll pay next month." Hearing that, Shi Jiang immediately said, "It's fine. There's no need to worry. Going to the movies doesn't cost much. Let me treat you today. In the 1980s, being a taxi driver was considered a profession with a decent income, not inferior to modern-day jobs. A few coins for a movie ticket were nothing to Shi Jiang. As for Zhao Feng, he was still looking for a place to stay. To his surprise, it would cost him 35 coins for a month. The landlady looked at him with disdain, typical of her attitude toward country folk. Is that expensive? If you can't afford it, you can go stay in a dormitory. It's only 5 hao a night. Zhao Feng was taken aback. So cheap? Where is it? Following the directions, he quickly arrived at the place, a slum area. But at least it was cheap. The landlady led him to a room. As soon as he entered, he could smell the foul stench. He began to regret. How is this any different from crawling into my own grave? Little did he know, someone was watching him. The landlady held out her hand. 5 hao per night, paid daily. Zhao Feng asked where he could brush his teeth and wash his face, then went outside to freshen up. Although the place was of poor quality, it saved him a little money. After brushing his teeth, he returned to the room, only to find that his bag, which had been hanging at the head of the bed, was no longer there. Oh my God, where's my bag? It was just here a moment ago. How could it disappear so quickly? Who took my bag? At that moment, a voice from the bed above spoke up. Young man, be careful when you go out. Consider this a lesson for you. Once something is lost here, it's impossible to find it. Zhao Feng cursed. Luckily, I kept my money on me. Otherwise, my life would be over. Just then, a familiar voice sounded, asking the landlord, Uncle Du, are there any rooms available? Zhao Feng turned around and recognized it was his class monitor. Zhou Jun, both of them were surprised and couldn't understand why the other was here. Zhao Feng spoke first. Class monitor, long time no see. I remember we haven't met since we graduated from high school. That's right, it seems like no one sleeps across from me. So you can sleep there tonight, Zhou Jun replied. Zhao Jun fell silent for a moment. In his heart, he did feel that Zhao Feng was a bit of a nuisance, just like everyone else who kept bringing up Xiao Du. Zhao Feng sat down on the bed. I didn't expect to run into you here. After graduating from university, where were you assigned to work? Talking about his job, Zhou Jun was clearly more excited. I was assigned to the tax bureau, but my dormitory won't be ready until mid-next month. Zhao Jun was clearly proud. Seeing his expression, Zhao Feng couldn't help but smile, as working at the tax bureau was considered an ideal job in previous years. When Zhou Jun asked him about the purpose of his visit, Zhao Feng didn't hide anything. I'm here to do some business, and also to visit Xiao Du. In his heart, Zhou Jun thought to himself, the shameful things I've done are known by everyone in the class, yet I still pretend to be a good person. He then turned his back and began tidying up the bed. Zhao Feng said, Class leader, you probably can't attend my wedding, right? You must be very busy. Zhao Jun coldly replied, there are matters at home, so I can't go. The two remained silent. The next morning, Zhao Feng bought some breakfast and went to the Jihai Port Market to survey the market and see what products might be suitable for sale. This area mainly sold second-hand clothes. Though Jihai was a large city, it couldn't compare to the development of Shanghai. Looking at the outdated clothes, Zhao Feng thought, a trend that has become popular in Shanghai will take time to catch on here. However, the cost of living here is no less than in Shanghai. Thinking of this, he smiled. The 1980s were a time full of business opportunities, from floral pants to blazers, and he felt very excited. In the end, he decided to specialize in bell-bottom trousers, as denim jeans were already too common, and selling bell-bottoms wouldn't be too difficult. Clearly, if he continued along this path, his business could expand further. Soon, night fell. In another market in Jihai, the night market was just beginning to operate. Zhao Feng came here because he knew that many popular items originated from these markets. He walked among the bustling crowd, observing his surroundings. At this moment, Xiao Du was lowering his head, not knowing what he was thinking. Zhao Feng suddenly turned his head, and the two unexpectedly came face to face. They were stunned and silent for a moment. Zhao Feng realized that the person standing in front of him was the one he had been yearning for. He couldn't believe his eyes and slowly moved closer, trembling as he said, Xiao Du. Then, unable to hold back, he shouted, Xiao Du, Xiao Du, I don't know what to do. She lowered her head, trying to avoid his burning gaze and stammered, long time no see. When Shi Jiang saw Xiao Du talking to a man, he turned to ask Shen Ziran. At that moment, Zhou Feng spoke up. Have you eaten? Have you had enough? If not, let's have a meal together. Xiao Du gently replied, I've already eaten. Inside, she was confused as to why Zhou Feng was so persistent. She had worked so hard to move on from her feelings. Yet here he was, appearing at this moment. Of course, Zhou Feng had no idea how Xiao Du was feeling. Cheerfully, he suggested, then let's take a walk. I have something I want to tell you. At that moment, Shen Ziran rushed forward, blocking Xiao Du and shouted, Is there something that can't be said here? Xiao Du has divorced you. What else is there to discuss? She emphasized the word divorce to stress that there was no longer any connection between them. Xiao Du remained silent, her gaze sad. Zhou Feng could feel sweat breaking out, not expecting Xiao Du to be so cold. He ignored Shen Ziran's words and asked again, Can we? Xiao Du pursed her lips and then turned to Shen Ziran, saying, I'll go with him for a while. You all head back first. It's better to clarify certain things. Ziran wanted to say something but simply smiled and replied, It's fine. Afterward, Xiao Du pointed in the direction of the man, indicating that they could walk and talk. As they watched the two figures gradually fade into the distance, Shi Jiang clenched his fists in anger, thinking to himself, This ex-husband of hers dares to take her away in front of the blind date. He almost blurted this out, and in his heart, he had already given Xiao Du the nickname Golden Lotus. Shen Ziran sighed, turned around and said, It's getting late, we should head back. Shi Jiang stood still, unsure of what to do as jealousy raged inside him. At this moment, Zhou Feng scratched his head and said, It's only been a short while since we last met, and you've gained weight. I really haven't been taking good care of you. Xiao Du coldly replied, Zhou Feng, lately my family has been introducing blind dates for me. My mom faints every time she hears a little bit about it. Right now, I'm very worried about her health, so I have no choice but to follow the arrangements at home. Seeing the exhaustion on her face, he understood. Her family is forcing her to do things she doesn't want. Zhou Feng stood frozen. Though he had so much he wanted to say, he just felt empty, as if his heart were being torn apart. Xiao Du turned her back, curling up as she walked forward. She looked like a lost child heading forward alone. He turned around and tried to pull her back, struggling to hold himself back from rushing into his arms, because there were too many people around. She hugged her head in the darkness, and Zhou Feng ran over to hold her tightly. Xiao Du was startled, her head being pulled into his chest, and he inhaled her scent, gently kissing her forehead. Xiao Du didn't say anything, only looking at him with teary eyes, a mix of love and hatred. Zhou Feng softly called her name, Xiao Du. She suddenly pushed him away, tears starting to fall. She stayed silent for a moment, her face set with determination. He wanted to say something, but she stopped him. Zhou Feng, don't say anything anymore. I'm soft-hearted right now. Anything you say will make me believe it. Listen to me, actually, I hate you so much. I hate that you were so good to me. If you weren't, maybe it wouldn't hurt so much to leave. The past 6 months, you've almost taken my life. Whenever you weren't happy, you'd hit me. I really want to ask, do you feel any pain when you hit me? Her words were like countless daggers piercing Zhou Feng's heart. Time seemed to stand still. He forgot even how to breathe, his gaze fixed solely on Xiao Du, who was becoming more agitated as she spoke. Zhou Feng, why did you suddenly change and start treating me so well? I feel even more unsafe. Are you lying to me by being kind? I'm so stupid. I can't even tell right from wrong anymore. I don't understand why you showed up in Jihai. Why you're here. Zhou Feng intended to explain, but she covered her ears and shook her head, saying, I don't want to hear it anymore. No matter what the reason is, I don't want to hear it anymore. After saying that, she wiped her tears and calmly ran toward her home. She still tried to speak from afar. Don't follow me anymore. I have to go home. Watching her figure disappear, Zhou Feng's heart felt heavy. There were too many things he couldn't say. He stood still, silently observing her as she vanished, his hand clenched into a fist. He slowly walked down the road. When he passed by a park, he saw a bench. Perhaps from walking too much, he collapsed onto it. I really wanted to hold her just now and tell her that I wouldn't deceive her and I wouldn't hurt her again. But looking back at the house with only 5 coins for a night and the children waiting for him to raise them, he asked himself, what do I have to offer Xiao Du to make her trust me and bring her happiness? Right now, the important thing is to earn money. The next morning, Zhao Feng sat exhausted on the bus heading to the antique street. This place was full of countless antique goods, with stalls stretching out, most of which had vendors sitting on the ground, displaying their products on mats. He happened to spot a piece he liked and picked up a ring to examine. The seller reminded him carefully, "That's from the Ming dynasty." Zhao Feng smiled. In the modern era, he had a deep understanding of gemstones. He looked up and asked the vendor, "How much is this?" The vendor waved his hand and said, "Don't ask about this one. The price is sky high. You can't afford it." Zhao Feng smiled. His eyes brightened, and he asked, "Boss, how much is this ring made from jade of eastern blue?" Hearing the question, the boss hesitated for a moment, realizing that the person was from the industry. No longer pretending, he replied directly, "2 coins, including the processing fee." Zhao Feng carefully examined the ring and began to haggle. Looking at the cut and polish, he thought it was still a bit expensive. Before he could finish speaking, the boss had already lowered the price to 1 coin. Zhao Feng smiled, asked the boss for a piece of steel, and left. As he walked out of the park, he looked at the ring and thought to himself, "Isn't this the ancestral ring of my family?" Seeing that it was still early, Zhao Feng stopped by a shop near the antique market to eat. A voice came from behind him, "Darling, let's go over there and take a look." Zhao Feng turned toward the voice and recognized that it was a foreign couple. He set down his chopsticks and listened carefully to their conversation. Since entering this alley, the blonde woman had been looking around, curious about everything. They reached a stall, and the woman asked her husband, "Darling, how old is this clay item?" The man replied calmly, "I don't know either." He continued, "Nation H has a long history, but these items have been cleaned, so it's hard to tell their origin." Seeing the foreign couple, the shopkeeper immediately decided to play on their psychology. The woman picked up a jar, and the shopkeeper promptly reminded her, "Be careful, don't drop it." Watching the shopkeeper's overly exaggerated gestures, Zhao Feng felt like he might throw up the bowl of noodles he had just eaten. Yet these theatrics worked on the couple. They immediately responded, "We'll be very careful, please don't worry." They examined the jar as if they were factory-farmed chickens. The woman spoke, "Darling, I can feel its history." The man nodded and told her to put the jar back. Immediately, he asked the shopkeeper about the price. The shopkeeper took a deep breath and said, "This is an heirloom passed down by my ancestors. I can't bear to sell it." This attitude made the man even more determined. He replied, "I will cherish it." The shopkeeper quickly raised one finger and said, "Our fate only requires 1,000 coins. Upon hearing this price, Zhao Feng thought to himself, "This guy really knows how to mark up prices." Contrary to him, when the man heard the price of 1,000 coins, he didn't hesitate at all, reaching for his wallet to look for the money. But just as he was about to pay, a clear English voice rang out from behind. They thought they had encountered a fellow countryman, but when they turned around, they saw Zhao Feng saying, "2 of you have been scammed. That's a fake. If you want one, I can give it to you for free." The 2 of them were surprised and quickly followed Zhao Feng. The owner hurriedly called out, "If you don't like that price, 700 coins will do." Seeing that the 2 were still walking away without looking back, he shouted, "100 coins then." The man immediately reacted, turned around, and realized that the item was indeed fake. Then, the 2 continued to chase after Zhao Feng, thanking him for the reminder. Zhao Feng waved his hand to stop them. "No need to thank me. We're all foreigners here." The 2 of them were stunned by his words. They didn't expect someone from Nation H to speak English so fluently. He replied, "I'm a local, originally from Zhihai. My father just does business abroad." One man stepped forward and patted him on the shoulder. "How did you spot that the stone was fake? Do you specialize in antiques?" After asking, the man stared intently at Zhao Feng's thin face, his eyes lighting up with interest. Zhao Feng smiled and nodded, showing a hint of pride. Since meeting these 2 foreigners, he had already prepared a plan. He spoke slowly, "The color of this vase is off, the size isn't uniform, and there are visible signs of wear on the surface, but it doesn't belong to any particular era. I only have a basic understanding of them." The other person asked again, "With your knowledge of antiques, do you enjoy collecting them?" Zhao Feng smiled gently and said, "Actually, my father's field of work is in antique collecting. I've seen a lot, so I know a bit about it." The man's eyes lit up at this, and he asked, So, can you help us buy an antique? At this moment, foreigners still believed that people from Nation H were willing to help them. But what he didn't know was that by 2022, the people of Nation H no longer cared about them. Though he felt somewhat frustrated inside, he endured it for the sake of making money. And it was also an opportunity to increase the income of antique sellers. He took the two foreigners around and stopped in front of the vendor's stall from earlier. Seeing him with the two foreigners, the owner immediately stood up and greeted them enthusiastically. Zhao Feng remained indifferent and said, "The items are really here." The owner awkwardly nodded, taking a while to find it, and finally took out an antique comb. He honestly said, "This is a comb left by my grandmother, passed down through generations, a piece from the imperial court." Looking at the exquisite wooden comb, Zhao Feng's eyes brightened. It seemed to be very old, but because it held no market value and didn't carry any special significance, it was difficult to price. Zhao Feng seemed disinterested and softly said to Tom, "This is quite good, but don't show too much interest. Let me handle the bargaining for you." Tom immediately shook his head. "I don't like this, it's just a comb. Nothing special." The shopkeeper clearly showed surprise and disappointment. Zhao Feng continued speaking to Tom. "This comb has been around for a long time. It's a rare item, truly worth collecting." Hearing this, the shopkeeper quickly nodded in agreement. "That's right." Zhao Feng smiled, achieving his two objectives. He then asked the shopkeeper for the price. After a brief hesitation, the shopkeeper held up one finger. $1 is enough. "This really is an heirloom from my grandmother. I can't sell it for any less." Tom nodded, signaling that the price was acceptable, and there was no need for further bargaining. After making the purchase, the three of them headed to another shop. Tom eagerly thanked him profusely. "Tonight, I'll treat you to dinner." Zhao Feng had been waiting for this invitation. Soon, they were at the restaurant. Linda, with a delighted expression, turned her gaze toward Tom. She said, "Darling, I really love this comb." Zhao Feng smiled, twirling the ring on his finger, then said, "Ms. Linda is really lucky. This comb must be worth thousands of dollars." "What a shame." He continued spinning the ring on his finger, deliberately drawing out the words, leaving Linda and Tom both surprised. The two of them clearly showed concern on their faces, asking, "What a shame about what?" Zhao Feng pretended to be disappointed, saying that if the ring belonged to a famous historical figure, its value would surely be much more than this. Upon hearing that, Tom breathed a sigh of relief and laughed. $100 is still worth this comb. As he spoke, Tom's eyes suddenly focused on the ring on Zhao Feng's hand, and he quickly asked, "What era is this ring from? Who was its owner?" Zhao Feng waved his hand and replied, "I don't know." This answer only piqued Tom's interest further. Zhao Feng then began to speak in English, a little nervously. "I bought this ring from a small village. I didn't pay attention to the era, and I can't determine it. When I get back home, I'll take a closer look." Tom was surprised, not expecting that Zhao Feng didn't know the exact age of the ring. He hurriedly asked about the price. When it came to the price, Zhao Feng had already made plans. He would suggest a price that the other party could accept without feeling it was too high. If he set the price too high, it would attract attention to the ring, and that might lead to trouble. He remembered the vase he had been thinking about and said, 1,000 coins. Linda carefully examined the ring, and Zhao Feng added, "I bought it because I thought it was beautiful. After wearing it for a few days, he'll sell it right away." Upon hearing this, Tom immediately showed interest. "So would you sell it to me?" Zhao Feng was slightly surprised but responded calmly, "Are you sure? I've already told you. I'm not certain about its value." Tom answered very seriously, "I like it just like Linda likes that comb." Hearing this, Zhao Feng felt satisfied and quickly said, "Then let's settle on the price." Tom eagerly thanked Zhao Feng. After receiving the money, Zhao Feng decided not to bring up the topic of the ring again and switched to another conversation. In the evening, when he returned to his room, he saw Zhou Jun already there. He immediately tried to start a conversation, but Zhou Jun only responded with a brief word and then ignored him. He wanted to ask about the man who had been with Xiao Du the other day, but Zhou Jun did not answer. He silently wondered if others also thought he wasn't good enough for Xiao Du. He approached and shook him awake. Zhou Jun sat up angrily, glaring at him and shouting, "What does the person beside her have to do with you? Mind your own business. You two are divorced. Stop clinging to her." After saying that, Zhou Jun's face turned red, his hands clenched as if he was about to take action. Seeing this, Zhao Feng asked, "Talking so much. So who exactly is that person?" His demeanor was very relaxed, completely unconcerned by Zhou Jun's previous words. At this point, his patience had reached its limit, and he shouted, "Just say it. Shi Jialing drives a taxi, makes more in a day than you do in a month. You should give up on this idea." After speaking, he lay down on the bed. Zhao Feng simply smiled faintly and made a mental note of the name. The next morning, Zhao Feng took the train to Guanghai. The 15-hour journey went smoothly. When he arrived, the sun had already risen. He felt that there were more than 1,000 coins in his pocket, which would surely be enough to buy a good pair of flare pants. In Guanghai, after some calculation, Mr. Xu went to the wholesale market. This place was 4 times larger than the Jihai wholesale market. By now, it was 4 a.m. Looking around, he spotted a perfect ledge to rest on, so without much thought, he sat down against the wall and drifted off to sleep. In a wholesale market like this, there was a lot of competition, so resting here was the best option. He wasn't sure how long he had slept, but when he opened his eyes, he noticed the place had become crowded, which surprised him. After struggling for about 5 minutes, he finally managed to squeeze his way inside. After walking a short distance, he accidentally came across a store selling jeans at 40 coins for a regular pair and 50 coins for flare jeans with a small waistband. Zhao Feng couldn't help but swallow. It was expensive. If this were 202, a pair of these jeans would cost over 3,000 coins, and that would be for fake ones. He asked the shopkeeper, "If I buy 50 pairs, how much of a discount can I get?" The shopkeeper loudly replied, 50 pairs at 50 coins each, 100 pairs at only 45 coins each. 45 coins is the lowest price. After considering it, he went over to the crowd and shouted, "Who wants to buy flare pants together? Come and join me." Finally, he managed to get 3 people to buy with him. He quickly agreed with them on the quantity needed. Each person would contribute their payment along with their 50 pairs, bringing the total to 105 pairs, just enough to get a discount from the store. After collecting the money, he went back to check with the 3 people before heading to the store. The woman followed him closely, as if afraid he would run away. When they arrived at the store, he heard a loud shout, "Only a few boxes of bell-bottom pants left. Whoever is quick will get them." Zhao Feng raised a stack of money and shouted loudly, "Boss, look, this is my money. I want to buy 105 pairs of bell-bottom pants with a small waist." He even intentionally let the dollars show. The sharp-eyed boss immediately recognized that the dollars would bring in higher profits. Without hesitation, he called for his wife to bring out 105 pairs of bell-bottoms for him. After receiving the goods, Zhao Feng's group found a corner to divide the pants. When the woman tried to take a pair from his hands, he smiled seriously and said, "Please wait until I finish dividing them first." Then he asked the man in the group, "Brother, I'm Zhao Feng. What's your name?" The man smiled and replied, "Call me Xu Gudao." After they introduced themselves, Zhao Feng handed Xu Gudao 5 pairs of the larger size. Xu Gudao accepted them with a warm smile. Zhao Feng smiled back, "That's right, I like the larger size." "You're really quick-witted." Zhao Feng continued to move the remaining pants, when suddenly Xu Gudao spoke up. "Oh, by the way, everyone, I need a pair of men's bell-bottom pants." Zhao Feng pondered for a moment, lowering his head to look at the yellowed shirt and the muddy pants. He felt that he should make a change. On the last night in Guanghai, he went out to dinner with Xu Gudao. The next day, Zhao Feng returned to Jihai. He quickly went to the night market to talk to the manager. Previously, he had deliberately bought a pack of cigarettes for 2 coins for Qin Yi Ku. After receiving the cigarettes, Qin Yi Ku became much more polite. The two of them walked deeper into the market and found a stable spot. After receiving the 2-coin management fee, Qin Yi Ku said to Zhao Feng, "Pack up a little, then leave." Zhao Feng didn't rest and worked continuously for an hour, finally finishing organizing the goods. Since Tian Lang Lang had come from Lin Shui to Jihai, Shen Ziran decided to treat everyone to a meal. Of course, she also brought Xiao Du along. She intentionally arranged for Xiao Du to sit next to Shi Jiang. In Shi Jiang's heart, the discomfort from meeting Zhao Feng at the night market still lingered. Last time, there were too many people around, and he didn't feel comfortable saying much. Shen Ziran called on everyone to introduce themselves, and then introduced Shijiang to Tian Liang. My high school classmate just moved to Jihai and is now working at the Hexanon equipment factory. Shijiang smiled, his gaze lifting. Tian Lang's job there is going pretty well. At least he's earning 100 coins, which is definitely better than Shen Ziran's place, where he can only earn up to 80 coins. Shen Ziran pretended to pout and said, Shijiang, you're still teasing me about taking Xiao Duo. Huh. By the way, I want to make it clear that I'm the one treating today, since it's Liang Liang's first time in Jihai. After that, everyone began chatting, while Xiao Du remained quietly sitting. Soon, Tian Lang Liang's group also exchanged a few polite words. As the evening gradually approached, Zhao Feng at the night market became even more enthusiastic. Every time someone walked by, he loudly invited them. Imported bell-bottom pants, top quality, don't miss out. At that moment, a girl appeared behind him and gently asked, Can you prove that these are imported? He smiled and began speaking in English. Of course, just take a look at the style and the label. When the girl heard him speak in English, her eyes lit up, and she responded in English as well. Zhao Feng asked her what size she wore, mentioning that the factory was running a promotion, offering pants for just 99 coins. Additionally, if she bought one, she could take a walk around the black market and get 5 coins back. Upon hearing this, the girl seemed to lose her mind. Zhao Feng confidently patted his chest and said, If you're not satisfied, you can return it. After buying the pants, the girl happily left, and Zhao Feng smiled with satisfaction. Soon after, the group of Shen Ziran finished eating and also arrived at the night market. Jia Boy pointed toward the market and cheerfully said to Ziran and Xiao Du, We should take a stroll around. It's much more enjoyable than walking outside. Zhang Xiao Du slightly bowed her head in response. After selling the first pair of pants, the girl had already changed into them, and just 20 minutes later, she returned to the black market, with her now slim figure, instantly drawing the attention of many people. The pants accentuated her long legs, leaving many in awe. She now looked like a celebrity. The girl happily approached Zhao Feng, who kept praising her. It looks beautiful. Although it was just a simple compliment, to the girl, it felt somewhat teasing, causing her face to turn red. Zhao Feng handed her 5 coins, which made her visibly delighted. The people around her, who had been admiring her with her fashionable bell-bottoms, also started to waver. This was exactly what Zhao Feng had been hoping for. Immediately, he grabbed the microphone and promoted imported bell-bottom pants right here. Just buy them today, change into them at home, and come to the market to get 5 coins back. The girls eagerly rushed to his stall to buy. Before long, he was happily counting the money in his hands, unable to believe how well the bell-bottoms were selling. In just 1 hour, most of the stock had been sold, leaving only 3 pairs of large sizes. At this moment, Shen Ziran's group had arrived at the market. Jia Boy looked at the girl next to her and said to Ziran, Look at that girl wearing bell-bottom pants. They're really something. Shen Ziran also noticed that those pants were completely different from the ones currently available on the market. They headed towards Zhao Feng's stall. By now, he only had 3 large sizes left, and although he was tired from selling, many people still wanted to buy. He was writing down everyone's measurements in a notebook, while also reminding them that if they wanted to pre-order, they needed to pay a deposit of 1 coin. Jia Boy quickly stepped forward and asked about the price of the bell-bottom pants. Zhao Feng, who had his back to them, slowly turned around and replied, The bell-bottom pants are priced at 99 coins each. The small sizes are sold out, so if you want to buy, you'll have to pre-order and pay a deposit of 1 coin. Shen Ziran was surprised to recognize Zhao Feng. He didn't pay attention to her, only giving her a brief glance. Xiao Du softly called her name. She was quite surprised to see Zhao Feng here, as she thought he had already returned to Lin Shui. After a moment of silence, Zhao Feng cheerfully said, Xiao Du, you came to the market. This batch has sold out, but I'll set one aside for you in the next batch. Xiao Du just lowered her head without saying anything. Seeing this, Zhao Feng smiled and said, Since you're not saying anything, I'll take that as a yes. Xiao Du coldly replied, No need. The jeans are too expensive. I hope you consider Wu Na's life. Zhao Feng was about to explain when Shen Ziran pulled Xiao Du away. Lai Dekai walked over, smiling and said, Zhao Feng, try your best in business. You might end up becoming the richest person in the class. Zhao Feng ignored the taunts. his gaze fixed on Xiao Du's figure in the crowd. Shi Jiang stood next to Xiao Du, glaring at Zhao Feng with anger. Lai Dekai, seeing this, became even more frustrated, as he had never liked Zhao Feng and felt disrespected. In a sudden move, he pushed Xiao Du towards Shi Jiang. Before anyone could react, Shi Jiang grabbed Xiao Du in an embrace, surprising her and making her blush. Zhao Feng was immediately enraged. Lai Dekai's actions had sparked his fury. He clenched the notebook in his hand, unable to control himself, and shouted, "Lai Dekai, do you have any manners at all?" He then turned to Shi Jiang with a smile, saying, "Isn't friendship supposed to mean supporting each other? Come on, support an old friend's business a bit." Shi Jiang wasn't pleased, as he hadn't been a friend of Zhao Feng's before, and Zhao Feng's words in front of everyone made him feel cornered. Wanting to make money at this moment was no simple task. With that thought, he pulled out a few hundred coins and said, "No need to return it. Consider it as supporting you on behalf of a friend." Zhao Feng suggested that everyone provide their sizes by taking out the notebook. Before anyone could speak, Jia Boy quickly declared, "I choose size L, and the other two choose size M." After the recent blow, Lai Dekai became more timid, silent, and did not dare to object. He did not expect Zhao Feng to become so terrifying. His gaze earlier seemed like he wanted to kill someone. As some people were preparing to leave, Xiao Du turned back several times to look at Zhao Feng. Shen Ziran pulled her outside. As Xiao Du's figure gradually disappeared, Zhao Feng called out, "Xiao Du, we should talk for a bit." But before he could say anything, Zhou Jun interrupted with a cold tone. "Zhao Feng, you two are divorced." His words were so clear. Although Zhao Feng only responded with a thank you and fell silent, his expression shifted to one of despondency. Shen Ziran walked beside Xiao Du, softly advising, "Xiao Du, why are you still hesitating? Why talk to someone like him?" Xiao Du furrowed her brows, determined as she replied, "Some things need to be made clear. Otherwise, Zhao Feng won't let me go." After saying this, she walked straight toward him. The old friends in the back row saw this and began whispering, pretending to sneer. Shen Ziran observed and noticed this change. When Xiao Du stood next to Zhao Feng, she suggested they go somewhere else to talk. They both walked to a quiet spot. She turned her back to him and coldly said, "If you have something to say, then say it." Zhao Feng was surprised by her unfamiliar tone. He thought to himself that he needed to explain quickly. "Xiao Du, a lot has happened since you left. Hu Han was arrested, and my parents are also seeking justice. The compensation money, I've already given it to Wu Na." Xiao Du interrupted. "Can you get to the point? How can you let me go?" Zhao Feng smiled, pulling out a thick wad of cash to show her. "Xiao Du, look at this. I made quite a bit of money in one night." Xiao Du didn't respond, only calling his name softly. He continued, "Listen to me, we're divorced now. I'll go marry someone else. Can you stop clinging to me? Go back to Lin Shui, and let's never meet again." These words cut into his mind like a blade, making him realize she truly wanted to be rid of him. A wave of disappointment washed over him, as if everything had been lost. He only wanted to share the good things with her and had once longed to see her bright smile, but now she seemed indifferent to his words. In a fit of madness, Zhao Feng suddenly sneered, his smile twisted, and he finally lost control, his throat trembling. Xiao Du stepped back at the sight. He grabbed her shoulder, each word coming out forcefully. "You'll never marry anyone else in your life. No matter who you meet, I'll ruin everything." Xiao Du was terrified, tears welling up in her eyes. Seeing the serious expression on his face, she realized his words were not a joke. Angrily, she asked, "What do you want me to do for you to let me go?" Zhao Feng stepped closer and replied, "I won't forgive you. I gave you a chance once. There won't be a second." While speaking, his hand pulled her closer, so that her cheek rested against him. "Xiao Du, take me back. I will marry you again." His voice softened when he said the word marry. Xiao Du could stop crying, unsure of what to do. The mixed emotions within her overwhelmed her. Zhao Feng stayed silent for a moment, then sighed, distancing himself from Xiao Du and saying helplessly, "All right, let me take you home." Xiao Du reassured herself that she could go home on her own, but he was still not at ease. Zhao Feng followed behind her, keeping a distance of about 2 meters. In his past life, Mr. Zhang thought that to achieve what he desired, he was willing to use any means necessary, even if it meant acting no differently than a thug on the street. However, after going through some events, he realized that the things he longed for were not as simple as material possessions. Although Xiao Du was the one thing he desired most, he had never intended to force her. Even if it meant lowering himself, he was still willing to marry Xiao Du. After seeing her home, he returned to his stall in the night market, because making money was also important. That night, he took a train to Guanghai Market. The next morning, dressed in a white shirt and dark pants, he stood out with his distinctive presence in the wholesale market. He found the owner of the bell-bottom pants stall he had met before. This time, he confidently requested to buy 60 pairs. The owner was very happy to sell to him at the lowest price. Just then, a voice suddenly rang out from behind Zhao Feng. He happened to run into Xu Gudao here. The two of them chatted pleasantly. Zhao Feng realized that Xiao Gudao was an employee of a large international trading company, specializing in everything from clothes and handbags to high-end crafted products. They had connections with many manufacturing factories abroad. This made Zhao Feng feel that he needed to befriend this person. During the conversation, Xu Gudao learned that Zhao Feng had sold all his goods in just one day and was surprised. He shared his thoughts. At some point, everyone will want to fight over easily sellable items. The competition is getting tougher, so profits will go down. Zhao Feng laughed and responded, I know, that's why I only plan to do this for a short time. Xu Gudao seemed to not fully understand and asked him about this plan. Zhao Feng smiled and explained, if you want to compete on price, you have to act quickly and decisively. At home, as Zhang Qiudu opened the door, she heard the sound of something falling. Shen Yongguang's voice echoed angrily. What is this? We've divorced, and you're still chasing me like a lingering ghost. Xiao Du hesitated for a moment after hearing that, but eventually decided to open the door. There were some things she couldn't run away from. Entering the living room, Xiao Du saw her older brother, Zhang Mingming, also there, while her father sat in the middle, his face ashen. Seeing Xiao Du enter, he asked anxiously, when did Zhao Feng come to Jihai? Xiao Du replied, the day before yesterday. Shen Yongguang stood up angrily. Damn it, did he come again to ask for money? How much have you given him already? She interrupted. He didn't ask for money, he just said a few words. After that, she stood there, lowering her head in silence. Today, the news from the night market had reached Shen Yongguang, and even those at his workplace knew all about it. This made him feel incredibly embarrassed. After a moment, Zhang Mingming patted his father's shoulder, advising him to stay calm, while also subtly hinting at Xiao Du. Xiao Du, you should stay away from him from now on. He's nothing but trouble for you. At that moment, Jiang Xin, worried, suggested, in the beginning, our parents didn't want me to go out, and now that I've ignored them, maybe we should just give him some money so he'll stop following me. As soon as she finished speaking, Zhang Mingming quickly reacted, shouting no. You know exactly what kind of person he is. Giving him money will never be enough. He'll just drain our parents' finances. Xiao Du felt exhausted. No one understood what she had gone through. Moreover, she couldn't understand why Zhao Feng kept following her and wouldn't let go. She clenched her mother's hand and said, Mom, don't worry, I'll handle everything. In her heart, she was determined to end all relations with Zhao Feng. The sky gradually darkened, and Zhao Feng had been at the market for a long time. A moment later, a female voice reached him. Boss, he'll take a pair of bell-bottom pants. Zhao Feng was surprised to have a customer so soon. The girl smiled and was about to take 99 coins out of her pocket to pay him. But Zhao Feng hurriedly waved his hand and said, I'm sorry, but since you did make a reservation, the current price is 111 coins per piece. The girl paused, her face showing doubt as she asked. A few days ago, it was still 99 coins. Why has the price gone up like this? Zhao Feng explained sincerely, perhaps you don't know. Yesterday, when I was selling, I got a special price from the factory due to a promotional activity. I didn't make any profit from that batch, and the quantity was limited. Therefore, I can't sell the items that have already been reserved to you. The girl pouted and complained. Can you really raise the price by 10 coins like that? You should sell it to me at the price from yesterday. If not, I won't buy it. She acted as though she was about to leave. Zhao Feng shook his head and insisted. Honestly, I can't take any more losses. The price the factory gave us is already 103 coins. Seeing that further bargaining was useless, the girl accepted to buy, though it was just a 10-coin difference from the previous price. She requested a size S, and gradually, more customers arrived at his stall. In the following days, Zhao Feng's business continued to thrive. During a lull in his work, Lily, the girl who had previously bought the pants, returned to the counter. Zhao Feng greeted her cheerfully. "Is it you?" This time, Lily had come to buy pants for a friend. Zhao Feng informed her, "Right now, the pants are being sold directly from the factory at a price as low as 100 coins each." Lily was astonished and mocked. "You're really good at business, truly a sly fox." Meanwhile, Xiao Du had just finished her shift and returned home later than usual due to a full cleaning session. On her way back, she bumped into Shi Zhang, and the two chatted for a while. Xiao Du intended to visit the night market to find Zhao Feng and settle things with him, and Shi Zhang decided to follow. She couldn't refuse, so she agreed to go with him. In her heart, she had already decided to sever ties with Zhao Feng once and for all. Along the way, they happened to run into Zhao Boy. "Are you also heading to the market?" Seeing this, Shi Jiang subtly excused himself and left. The two girls continued on their way to the market. Zhao Boy advised Xiao Du to keep her distance from Zhao Feng. "Back when we were in school, everything was just simple liking. But now things are different. Are you sure Zhao Feng is still as innocent as before?" After a brief silence, Xiao Du said, "But I still want to clarify a few things with him." She remained firm in her belief, wanting to handle the issue on her own. Zhao Boy didn't argue any further and let Xiao Du make her own decision. At the market, Zhao Feng's stall was crowded with customers. Zhao Boy came to call him, saying she had come to pick up the pants. He immediately packed 3 pairs into a bag and handed them to her. Before Zhao Boy left, he called out, "Thank you for your support, old friend." Zhao Boy silently stepped forward and handed Xiao Du a pair of pants. However, Xiao Du refused and said, "It's not necessary. Tell Zhao Boy to keep them and wear them." Zhao Boy didn't object, only waving goodbye before leaving. When Zhao Boy had gone, Xiao Du moved closer. Zhao Feng, who was busy at the time, heard her soft call and turned around with an eager expression. "Xiao Du, what brings you here?" Her face showed no emotion. "Are you free? I need to talk to you about something." Zhao Feng scratched his head, looking somewhat embarrassed. "Is it because of what happened that night at the night market and your family found out?" Even before Xiao Du could say anything, he hurriedly apologized. "I know I caused you trouble after all. We're divorced now. If this has affected you, it's my fault. But now, think about it from my perspective. Where did I go wrong?" Zhao Feng's voice trembled as he spoke. Xiao Du bit her lip, gazing at him. Her emotion stirred. He sighed, trying to restrain himself, then gently said, "Xiao Du, I promise I won't bother you anymore. But if you want to marry anyone, I will always be ready to compete for you." These words made Xiao Du's face turn red. After finishing the shopping, Zhao Feng took her home. When they were close to her house, he softly called her name and flashed a mischievous smile. He thought, "Is there anyone else worthy of you besides me?" After Zhao Feng left, Zhang Xiaodu sat on the ground, hugging her chest for a long time. The pain in her heart made her unable to stop herself from crying. She tried to regain her composure before going into the house. As soon as she opened the door, Jiang Xin hurriedly walked over. Seeing Xiaodu's red eyes, she quickly asked, "Xiaodu, did Zhao Feng do something bad to you again?" Jiang Xin's voice echoed throughout the house, causing everyone to hear. Zhang Xiaodu rubbed her eyes, saying it was just dust in her eyes, and that Zhao Feng hadn't done anything to her. At that moment, her younger sister, Xiao Ha, spoke up. "Sister, why did you meet Zhao Feng? Didn't you promise Mom and Dad that you wouldn't have anything to do with him?" Xiao Du went to her room and replied, "I met him this time just to clarify things. There will be no contact from now on." Jiang Xin happily asked her, "Really?" Her father, displeased, scolded, "That scoundrel won't let you go. How can you trust someone like that?" After a while, he calmed down and changed the subject. "Zhou Liu is in your dad's department. Your dad has arranged for the two of you to have a private meal tomorrow." Xiao Du turned around and shouted, "I'm not going." She nervously said, "Can you not make me go on a blind date? Right now, I just want to live alone." Her father immediately flew into a rage. his face turning red with veins popping as he shouted, "What are you saying? Look at yourself. You only have a basic education, a temporary job, and you've already been divorced once. If you weren't my daughter, do you think Xiao Liu would agree to go on a blind date with you?" His words were harsh, reflecting the attitude of a man who believed he had the right to control everything in the household. Hearing this, Xiao Du couldn't hold back and yelled, "Then you go marry him yourself." A sharp slap rang out, and her pale face was marked by a handprint. Jiang Xin, witnessing this scene, clutched her chest and collapsed onto the ground. Xiao Du immediately ran to her side. In her helplessness, Jiang Xin said, "Xiao Du, before, your parents didn't let you marry that scoundrel Zhao Feng, and you were so angry. But in the end, what happened? This time, please listen to your parents. They won't harm you." With tears welling up in her eyes, Xiao Du choked out, "Fine, as long as I just obey, right?" Ever since she left Jihai, a huge burden had weighed heavily on her shoulders. In her mind, many images of Shen Ziran, Seng Yongguang, and Jiang Xin rose up. The past conversations with them, the empathy and warmth that, although they only lasted for a few short days, always made her feel warm whenever she thought back on them. In just a few days, Zhou Feng had earned 530 coins. Today, he decided to head to the most upscale area of Jihai City. Before noon, he had set up his stall to begin selling. There were many customers here, and the consumption was significantly higher than in other areas. He became busy until the afternoon. When most people had gone home, Zhou Feng was also preparing to pack up and go for a meal. Suddenly, he saw a few familiar figures walking out of the apartment complex. It was Shen Ziran, Jia Boy, and Zhou Jun. Jia Boy caught sight of Zhao Feng and greeted him. "Zhao Feng, what are you doing here?" Zhao Feng set his rack down and smiled, responding, "I'm selling clothes here." He looked at the pants Jia Boy was wearing and complimented her, saying they suited her well and highlighted her charm. Shen Ziran said nothing, but Zhu Jun seemed displeased. He stepped forward and snapped back. "Zhao Feng, how can you speak like that? You're calling the pants my girlfriend is wearing improper." As he spoke, he pointed at the pants Jia Boy was wearing, causing Zhao Feng to laugh. "Class Representative Zhao, why are you scolding a classmate for being improper?" After that remark, Zhao Feng deliberately glanced at Jia Boy, and the atmosphere became awkward. Clearly, Jia Boy had turned red under Zhou Jun's intense gaze. Zhao Feng was a friend, so why was he speaking like that? Zhou Jun wanted to defend Jia Boy, but Zhao Feng interrupted him loudly. "Do you even remember we're friends? You yourself said that the pants I sell are not proper." Zhao Jun was at a loss for words. Zhao Feng expressed his grievance. "Class monitor, we all have to look out for ourselves. Selling a pair of pants only earns 2 yuan, and you still look down on me like this." Upon hearing this, Shen Ziran looked at him with a doubtful expression. "Tell me, you only make 2 yuan from selling 1 pair of pants." Under her suspicious gaze, Zhou Feng felt guilty. To avoid being exposed, he quickly said goodbye and went off to pack up his goods. Seeing he didn't respond, Shen Ziran angrily turned to Jia Boy and Zhou Jun, saying, "Don't pay attention to him anymore. I don't want to know him." The scene shifted to the night market, where Zhao Feng made use of his free time to quickly finish a bowl of rice. The manager of the market, Qin Yiku, also came over to sit next to him, cheerfully saying, "Zhao Feng, I didn't expect you to be so good. You're the best seller in this whole market." He quickly realized the man's intentions and pretended to be discouraged. "Mr. Qin, there's nothing to hide. How much profit do you make from selling these pants?" The other person replied, "I'm not sure either. I'm just an employee." Qin Yiku sighed and looked at Zhao Feng. "Zhao Feng, do you really have a connection to the foreign suppliers?" He replied, "You're flattering me. How could I have contact with foreign suppliers? The boss hasn't shared anything with me." Qin Yiku stared at him, his gaze full of provocation. "Interesting. What you're saying is completely false. You don't need to show up at the night market anymore. What do you even amount to?" After saying that, he stood up and kicked the chair hard. Zhao Feng merely glanced at him. In the sales world, people like Qin Yiku were not rare. They targeted others who had good profits and wanted to take their share. When such petty people got angry, they only focused on sabotaging you, without any thought of fair competition. Zhao Feng did pay him any mind and continued enjoying his bowl of noodles. This was something he had anticipated, but he didn't expect someone to be so eager. It was just Qin Yiku. Other sellers were eyeing him too, but even if they began taking action, it would take time to survey the products, place orders, and arrange shipping. That time would be enough for him to make a little more profit. After finishing his meal, Zhao Feng stopped by a public telephone booth. He inserted a coin and called Xu Gudao. Not long after, Xu Gudao's voice came through on the other end. Tomorrow, go to the bell-bottom pants vendor and order 100 pieces. Let me know when the goods arrive in Guanghai. The two of them exchanged a few words before the phone call was disconnected. At present, he still had 8 pairs of pants left. If he sold all 118 pieces, Zhao Feng would easily become a diamond-tier customer for that side. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but head towards the night market. As he was preparing to pack up and leave, Qin Yiku suddenly shouted from behind. Zhao Feng, remember, if you don't reveal the supplier channel, don't even think about surviving in this industry. Zhao Feng only sneered, not caring about his words, finished packing, and left. On the way, Xiao Du happened to run into Zhao Feng. She froze when she saw him walking toward her, feeling both curious and delighted. As Zhao Feng passed by, he merely greeted her casually. Hello, Xiao Du, and continued walking. Xiao Du stood there in a daze, and after a few seconds of surprise, she turned around but could no longer see him. Though this was what she had hoped for, when he greeted her so coldly, she felt empty, even wishing that he could have said a few more words to her. Zhao Feng felt that he had said everything necessary. Now, the only thing left was to focus on making money to change other people's opinions, while not wanting to put too much pressure on Xiao Du, so he decided to set his emotions aside. Lost in thought, he boarded the train to Guanghai Market. When he opened his eyes again, it was already noon the next day. When he arrived, Zhao Feng knocked on Xu Gudao's door. He had just finished cooking, and upon hearing the knock, he smiled and went to open the door. The two of them gathered and exchanged a few words. Zhao Feng wiped the sweat from his forehead and asked, "Have you bought the pants yet?" Xu Gudao smiled and pointed to a stack of neatly folded pants in the corner of the room. Zhao Feng thanked him and quickly glanced over at them. Suddenly, he observed his friend's house, which had 2 bedrooms and a living room. Although it was on the ground floor, it was still very bright and airy. Xu Gudao walked over to the table and said, "Zhao Feng, come here and let me show you my cooking skills. If I get the chance, I'll cook a nice meal for you." During the meal, Xu Gudao asked why Zhao Feng was in such a hurry to purchase this batch of pants. Zhao Feng shared with Xu Gudao that he had been threatened by someone at the night market and was trying to figure out the source of the goods. Xu Gudao did seem surprised by the story. He said, "Bell-bottom pants are selling so well right now, it's only natural that others would try to copy." Xu Gudao then asked, "If you sell all these pants, how much will you make?" He replied, "If I sell them all, it will be about 18,700 coins. This amount took Xu Gudao by surprise, and he thought to himself, Zhao Feng is really quite capable. Hearing the price of the bell-bottom pants, he was shocked. Zhao Feng explained that now was the best time for sales in Jihai. Everyone had money and often used expensive modes of transportation. Then, he stood up and handed his savings book to Xu Gudao. The amount in it had increased by 50 coins compared to when he purchased the goods. Gudao said, "Zhao Feng, this batch of pants was only bought for 450 coins. You given me 500 coins. Zhao Feng just smiled and said, "You can keep the extra 50 coins. No need to send me off." After saying this, he took the pants and left. By the time he got back to Jihai, it was already the next day. After packing up his things, it was starting to get dark. Zhao Feng went to a well-known apartment complex in the area to start his business. He said, "This is the last batch of discounted goods." His words attracted the attention of many people. Some recognized him immediately as the person who used to sell goods at the night market. However, today's sale didn't go as smoothly as expected, and there was still quite a bit of unsold stock. This made him feel anxious. The next day, Zhao Feng set out to sell the pants early in the morning, but it wasn't until noon that he managed to sell a few. His anxiety grew stronger. If the market and competitors continued to sell at lower prices, the reputation he had built would be severely damaged, and he might even be seen as a scammer. At that point, even the discounts might not help sell the goods. Therefore, He had to do whatever it took to sell the pants before things got worse. By evening, the weather had become more pleasant, and more people had gathered in the area. Zhao Feng stood up to promote his goods, his voice now hoarse. Every time he called out, his throat felt as if it were burning. This was the last batch, only 3 days left. The imported pants are here. Come take a look. A few people began approaching his booth. Although the price was a bit high, he occasionally managed to sell a few. The sales weren't as expected. But Zhao Feng still didn't dare to place too much hope. On the third day, while a few people were playing cards at home, Shen Ziran and Jiao Boy stood up and stretched, deciding to stop playing. I have to go to the theater for makeup, she said. Ziran glanced at Xiao Du and noticed she seemed irritated, so she asked, "What's wrong? You don't look too well." She asked, "Did my mom just call you?" "Liu Shui is coming, right?" The other person replied, "He should be arriving soon." "Is he the person you're being set up with?" Xiao Du sighed. "I've been driven crazy by Shi Zhang. And now this guy. Just seeing him makes me annoyed. Honestly, I find him really bothersome." Shen Ziran moved closer, thought for a moment, and said, "You're much better off than Zhao Feng." The other girl said, "Let's go, I want to take a walk too." After tidying up, the group went downstairs. At the entrance of the complex, a well-dressed man approached Zhao Feng. The man asked, "How much are your pants?" Zhao Feng answered, 100 coins. The man raised his hand. "Give me 1 pair of size S." Zhao Feng quickly packed the pants for him. Liu Shui received the items and walked into the residential area. Not long after, he saw Shen Ziran and her friends. He waved his hand. "Hello everyone. I'm a friend of Xiao Du." Upon hearing this, Shen Ziran turned around and smiled at Xiao Du. "Your friend is something else. Even came here to pick you up personally." Liu Shui heard this and immediately looked toward the residential area, curiously asking, "Does she live here? I heard people here are very wealthy. I didn't expect her family to be so well off." He then began praising her nonstop. Shen Ziran felt her face flush with embarrassment and quickly spoke up, "How about we take a walk for a bit? Or do you and Xiao Du want to go on your own?" Liu Shui laughed loudly. "No way, who would I ask about that?" He answered, continuing to walk with them for fun, and it was a good opportunity to get to know each other as well. Shen Ziran quickly realized why Xiao Du didn't like Liu Shui. His personality was quite unpleasant. However, she could only nod. After that, they all continued walking up the street. Shen Ziran glanced over and saw Zhao Feng selling clothes at the gate. "Zhao Feng, why is he at the gate of my neighborhood?" Liu Shui stared at her for a moment before shifting his gaze elsewhere. He had heard that he'd been there all day. Suddenly, Liu Shui snapped to attention. When he remembered the name Shen Ziran had just called, his face filled with surprise and displeasure. "Xiao Du, is that your ex-husband?" Xiao Du nodded, looked up at Zhao Feng, but did say anything. Liu Shui noticed her silence, and her face started to turn red. He walked over, glancing at Zhao Feng and Xiao Du a few times, feeling angry himself. "Xiao Du, what do you mean by this?" Xiao Du angrily replied, "What do you mean?" His face twisted, his teeth clenched. Why was she looking at Zhao Feng? Xiao Du said sternly, "What's wrong with looking at my ex-husband? How embarrassing." Shen Ziran, sensing the tension in the air, stepped in to mediate. She pulled Xiao Du away, but Xiao Du still occasionally glanced at Zhao Feng. Liu Shui shouted angrily, "Xiao Du, are you coming or not?" This statement ignited her fury. "I'm not going anywhere. Stop ordering me around." "Liu Shui, I have every right to look at whoever I want. We've only known each other for a few days, and you're already acting like this." As she spoke, she let out all the emotions she had been holding in. Liu Shui was not having it either. He raised his voice. "If it weren't for Director Zhang's arrangement, I wouldn't have agreed to go on a blind date with someone temporarily working at the library." Zhao Feng had heard the entire argument between the two of them. He called out loudly, "Xiao Du, come here." Xiao Du glanced over. Zhao Feng was waving his hand and calling her over warmly. She blushed, lowered her head, and walked toward him. He gently spoke to her. "Can you help me carry this bag, please?" Xiao Du did not avoid it. She lowered her head, her expression like that of a child who had made a mistake. Zhao Feng looked at her for a moment, then picked up the speaker again to continue his sales. The scene made Liu Shui look displeased. He kept insulting Zhao Feng. Xiao Du, just follow a man like him. You really have no eye for people. He's just a worker, earning only a few coins from selling a pair of pants, and his whole life will probably just be about suffering. Liu Shu continued to hurl insults at Zhao Feng. Meanwhile, Zhao Feng appeared to be hurt and retorted loudly. I sell because of passion. I don't make much profit. It sounded strained, and his voice seemed hoarse. All eyes began to turn toward Liu Shui. When people sense that someone is in a weaker position, they often side with that person. A sophisticated woman, looking displeased, spoke up. People work so hard just to earn a little, and yet you come and make things difficult for them. You really have no manners. She glanced at Liu Shui, making it clear to everyone that the remark was directed at him. Another middle-aged woman stepped forward to challenge him. Where do you work? Who trains someone like you? Liu Shui could sense the authoritative presence of the woman and felt uneasy, not daring to reveal his name. He simply backed away and quickly left. The two women turned towards Zhao Feng and smiled together before buying 3 pairs of pants. Zhao Feng couldn't contain his joy and almost burst out laughing. Luckily, he cleverly covered his face, but that action led others to mistakenly think he was wiping away tears. The two women lifted up the pants, not forgetting to compliment him. These pants are really high quality. I didn't expect to make just 2 yuan profit for each one. It's really hard work. Another one chimed in. Yeah, look at him. He's so tired he's about to cry. Taking advantage of the opportunity, Zhao Feng began to promote his goods. His voice, already hoarse, now became even more strained, trying to sound pitiful. Within half an hour, his stall became very crowded. Zhao Feng had filled Xiao Du's bag. Shen Ziran and Zhou Jun, who were standing nearby, exchanged looks of doubt and asked, Is Zhao Feng really working this hard? Zhao Jun replied, he must want to start over, but earning just a few yuan a day. Maybe finding another place to work would be better. These words resonated with Shen Ziran, who waved her hand. Let's go to Zhao Boy's place. Before long, night had fallen, and it was already 8 o'clock. Today, Zhao Feng had sold 48 pairs of pants, leaving 52 still in stock. However, given the current situation, it seemed like people in this area had already bought quite a lot, so he decided to pack up and head towards the shopping mall. As he passed by the library, he was suddenly surrounded by a crowd. A woman excitedly pointed at him and asked, Are you the one who used to sell goods at the night market and the best residential area? Zhao Feng nodded. Before he could introduce himself, people rushed up to him, handing him money. Give me a size L. Upon hearing this, Zhao Feng was very pleased. Right now, size L was the most abundant in his stock. Noticing the large number of customers here, he decided to stay and sell at the library. Xiao Du, sitting inside the library, heard the familiar voice, immediately looked outside, blushed and stood frozen in place. On the second floor of the shopping center, in Su Wenwen store, recently many people had been asking for bell-bottom pants, but she always had to reply that she didn't have them. She looked up at the clock and thought, what's taking this guy so long? After a while, Zhang Mingming tiredly ran back, drenched in sweat. Shai Wenwen immediately stood up and asked anxiously, Why did it take so long? Did you manage to find a supplier? Zhang Mingming frowned and replied, Don't rush, I have asked around a lot of people before I got any information. The price in Guanghai has already gone up to 50 coins now. Shai Wenwen couldn't help but scold him. So fast, the price has already gone up. It's all your fault for being so slow. Now it's suddenly 5 coins more expensive. Why didn't you talk to your dad about this earlier? Zhang Mingming took the towel and smiled in reply. It's fine. I've already placed the order. 100 pieces for 500 coins. When Shai Wenwen heard that the goods would arrive the day after tomorrow, her face suddenly lit up with joy. She smiled and said, I've already calculated it. Just selling 2 pieces will earn as much as your monthly salary. Zhang Mingming, also excited, slammed the table and exclaimed, If the business goes well, I'll always work with you from now on. When the two looked at each other, they raised their heads and laughed continuously. As for the library, Zhao Feng couldn't believe that just over an hour later, he had sold all the pants. Looking at the now empty stall, he smiled with satisfaction, but still needed to confirm some details with Hu Gudao. He immediately put money into the phone booth. Soon, Hu Gudao's voice echoed. The two exchanged a few words before moving on to the main topic. Zhao Feng asked how things were going with the bell-bottom pants on the other side. He was told that the price had been raised by 5 coins. Zhao Feng hadn't expected things to move so quickly. Him Gudao asked how much he had sold, and Zhao Feng calmly replied, "I've sold everything." Hearing this, Hekshu Gudao stood up in panic, his palms sweating. "Really? So you've earned over 10,000 coins, right?" Zhao Feng confirmed, "Yes." Xu Gudao wiped the sweat from his forehead, realizing that the amount of money Zhao Feng had made in just a few days was equal to what he had saved up his whole life. After calming down, he asked if Zhao Feng planned to restock. With firm resolve, Zhao Feng answered, "I'm not selling anymore." Then, he pondered for a moment before continuing. The price increase proves that the demand is rising. Perhaps Jihai already has many people importing goods. Moreover, there will be someone who finds a better supply source and imports at a lower price. By then, if they sell at a low price, no one will make a profit. After a few more exchanges, they hung up. Zhao Feng had one more thing to do. That evening, Zhao Feng went to the night market. Qin Yiku was exactly the same as before, leisurely sitting on a chair. Zhao Feng approached, gently calling out, "Mr. Qin?" Qin Yiku glanced over and said, "What are you doing here?" Zhao Feng smiled and handed him a pack of cigarettes. "Just came to visit. Here, have a smoke." He then shoved the entire pack into Qin Yiku's hands. Qin Yiku snorted, took the pack, and asked, "What do you mean by this?" He scratched his head and said, "Mr. Qin, I hope you can help me set up shop here. There's no better place than the night market." Qin Yiku stood up, waved his hand, and said seriously, "You don't have the qualifications." Suddenly, Zhao Feng stepped closer and put his arm round his shoulder. "Mr. Qin, I'm being very sincere this time. It's not just cigarettes. I'll also let you know where to source goods." At first, Qin Yiku was skeptical, but soon he quickly smiled and patted his chest. "All right, well, why didn't you say so earlier? Let's all get rich together. Now tell me, how much is it to import the goods at that price?" Zhao Feng grinned slyly. "The price is 50 coins. Qin Yiku staggered a bit, then quickly exclaimed, "Each one costs 100 coins. I didn't expect the profit to be so high." Zhao Feng continued chatting. "I have the phone number of the seller. You can contact them directly. However, the condition is that you have to rent me a stall at the night market for 6 months." Qin Yiku didn't hesitate to agree right away. He then led Zhao Feng to the northern area of the night market. The spot was right by the wall, about 7 meters long. When Zhao Feng paid for the rent, Qin Yiku hurried to a nearby phone booth to call the supplier. After confirming everything was fine, a smile remained on Qin Yiku's face. Everything was going smoothly. The next day, Zhao Feng went to the post office to write a letter informing some friends, including Wuna, about the situation, and also inquired about Wuna's school schedule. It was this that made him consider the possibility of transferring Wu Yu and Wu Jing to Jihai for school. That way, the family could be reunited. At this point, his thoughts about renting a house in the 80s no longer seemed as easy as buying one. A 70 square meters apartment in a residential area usually cost around 500 coins, while a house in the countryside could go up to 800 coins for a 120 square meters unit. Plus, with a small yard, maintenance would be easier compared to an apartment. Thinking about this, Zhao Feng suddenly remembered someone. He immediately went to a phone booth, dropped in some coins, and called Kang Jinzhong. "Mr. Kang, it's me, Zhao Feng." Mr. Kang asked, "Ah, it's you. Zhao Feng, you've been in Jihai for a while and haven't called back. How have you been lately?" He asked, "I'm about to return to Linhai. Is there anything you'd like me to bring from Jihai?" Kang Jinzhong smiled, squinting his eyes, and said, "As expected. I did mistake the person." He continued, "I don't need anything. Just come back and have a meal with me. The last time you helped me with something big, I still haven't thanked you." The two of them chatted a little more before Zhao Feng ended the call. He believed that the issues with Wu Yu and Wu Jing should be discussed directly, and he would bring a few items for Kang Jinzhong. He needed to ask him for some help, so he should show some sincerity. Zhao Feng took the train back to Lin Shui, and by the time he arrived, it was already the next day. He brought the items home, and as he neared the house, he saw Wu Jing playing with the other children. He raised the bag of goods in his hand and called out to Wu Jing. "Big brother's here." Seeing his brother, the boy immediately ran over, his eyes lighting up when he saw the snacks in Zhao Feng's hand. He quickly pulled out a lollipop and happily started eating it. Zhao Feng smiled and said, "Look, no one's going to take it from you. We're home now, you can eat it slowly." When they got home, both Wu Na and Wu Yu were very happy to see him. "Big brother, why are you back so soon?" Reuniting with his family made Zhao Feng feel incredibly happy. He missed home so much, and his smile made his eyes narrow with joy. Then, Zhao Feng said, "I have something I want to discuss with you. I was planning to write a letter, but I didn't get a chance to send it. Let me cook first." Not long after, the meal was ready. Zhao Feng shared with Wu Yu and Wu Jing about the plan to transfer schools. Hearing the news that there was a chance they could be transferred to a big city, both of them immediately became as happy as if they were celebrating, nodding continuously. Wu Na put down her chopsticks and furrowed her brows, asking, "Brother, is it difficult to transfer schools?" He replied, "Not necessarily. Tonight, I'll go ask Kang Jinzhong about it." Having said that, he set down his chopsticks, stood up, and told his younger siblings to see who would wash the dishes. In the late afternoon, Zhao Feng brought some local specialties from Jihai to meet Kang Jinzhong. Arriving at the factory after work hours, he waited outside the gate. After half an hour, Kang Jinzhong came out, looking cheerful. As soon as he saw Zhao Feng, he smiled and walked over, patting him on the shoulder, saying, "You're back so soon. Have you eaten? Let me take you out for a meal." Zhao Feng handed the bag of items to Mr. Kang. "Mr. Kang, I've already eaten. I just came to visit you, and I brought a little bit of Jihai specialties as a gift." The two of them chatted for a while before heading to Kang Jinzhong's house. At that moment, Zhao Feng chose the right moment to express his intentions. "I want to transfer Wu Yu and Wu Jing to Jihai. Do you think you could help with that?" As he spoke, he took out an envelope. Seeing this, Kang Jinzhong immediately pushed the money back and objected. "Zhao Feng, you're being too polite." Zhao Feng understood that when asking for a favor, the most important thing was to be clear about the purpose. So he furrowed his brows and said, "Mr. Kang, Wu Na is studying at university in Jihai, and I will also be developing my career there. If Wu Yu and Wu Jing have no one to take care of them, you must help me this time." Kang Jinzhong immediately replied, "I will look into transferring your siblings to a new school, but the money is out of the question." Zhao Feng stepped forward, resolutely pushing the money into Kang Jinzhong's hands. The two of them pushed the money back and forth several times. Kang Jinzhong said seriously, "Zhao Feng, if you keep doing this, I will not agree to help you." Zhao Feng, feeling helpless, said, "Then thank you. With that statement, I am at ease. I've asked for your help, and still can't offer anything in return, which makes me feel quite embarrassed." After saying this, he placed the money on the table and added, "Mr. Kang, just leave it to me, please." In the end, the money remained with Kang Jinzhong. Asking for help from others was not just about words. Even though Kang Jinzhong spoke lightly, he still needed to seek assistance from others for this matter. The next morning, Zhao Feng returned to Jihai. As soon as he got off the train, he saw many people with bell-bottom pants, their faces lit up with bright smiles. Zhao Feng didn't stop and left immediately. At the shopping mall, a girl hurriedly ran to Su Wenwen's counter. "Sister Wenwen, something happened." The girl appeared to be confused. "What's going on?" The girl, named Xiao Lai, frowned and pointed to the third floor, saying, "Kang Jin Lai on the upper floor is also selling bell-bottom pants, but for only 44 coins each." Upon hearing this, Su Wenwen and Zhang Mingming were both extremely surprised. They couldn't believe it and exclaimed, "What? Only 44 coins? The minimum purchase price is 45 coins, and there are only a few batches. Is he out of his mind?" Xiao Lai answered seriously. Other shop owners were also discussing this. The brand and quality were the same, but the price was only 44 coins. Wen and Ming Ming exchanged glances and then went outside. Standing on the third floor, they could indeed see a banner advertising the sale. Zhang Ming said, "Let's go. Let's see how that fool is selling his stuff." Soon after, Zhao Feng arrived at the night market. He looked toward the north, where there was an area of 7 meters available for operations over the next 6 months. As he was deep in thought, A voice called out from behind him. Zhao Feng. The one who called was Qin Yi Ku, with a shining gold tooth in his mouth. He informed Zhao Feng that he had just imported a batch of 50 pairs of pants. Zhao Feng smiled and replied, Mr. Qin, you really are rich. Qin Yi Ku also smiled, lit a cigarette and said, Rich? What are you talking about? I've just borrowed from everywhere to make a big deal. Zhao Feng, you used to sell pants really well. Teach me how to pitch. What should I say when advertising? Zhao Feng immediately agreed and then shared his experience in sales in a whisper. However, Qin Yi Ku did not notice the sharp, cold gaze Zhao Feng was giving him and continued to speak to him. Let's sell the pants tonight at my old spot. If anyone asks, just say you're the real owner. It will make it more convincing. Qin Yi Ku listened attentively, nodding repeatedly. By evening, he set up his stall at Zhao Feng's old location, thinking that he was finally going to make some real money. After finishing the setup, he suddenly began loudly advertising the flared pants from the factory. After finishing his words, he paused briefly and then continued to pitch with even more enthusiasm. After a while, someone came over to ask the price and wondered if he was the same vendor from before. Qin Yi Ku smiled brightly. Yes, I'm the boss. The stock is direct from the factory, just 111 coins. The girl muttered a little and began to reach for her wallet when Qin Yi Ku turned his back. I'll get the pants for you right away. In his heart, he was excited, thinking that a few dozen coins would soon be in his hands. Zhao Feng's method had indeed worked. After only a short time, a customer had appeared. At that moment, a woman wearing flared pants approached. Seeing the girl's intent to buy, she immediately intervened. Wait a minute, are you really going to buy these flared pants for 100 coins? Don't buy them here. He's a scammer. Qin Yi Ku immediately frowned and asked, What are you talking about? The girl glared at him, then continued, Don't buy here. The same type is only 44 coins at the shopping mall. Qin Yi Ku frowned. What are you saying? How much are they selling for? 44 coins. Are you dreaming? No way, that person's pants might be fake. If the same type is sold for 44 coins, I'd give you a whole batch of these pants for free. At this point, Qin Yi Ku couldn't hold back and shouted loudly. The people around them heard and gathered. A middle-aged woman stepped forward, annoyed, and said to Qin Yi Ku, These are the pants I just bought at the shopping mall for 44 coins. Everyone, take a look. Do they look the same? After hearing this, the crowd looked at the pants in her hand, and indeed, they were the same model. They all voiced their objections to Qin Yi Ku, calling him a swindler. They're selling for 44 coins, and you're offering them for 100 coins. Zhao Feng, observing from above, thought to himself that the 44 coin price indicated that someone had imported the goods at a price lower than the local price and had decided to lower the price accordingly. After thinking for a while, he decided not to sell bell-bottom pants anymore. He felt he had lost the face to continue doing so. As he was about to leave, he happened to spot a familiar figure in the crowd. It was Xiao Du. She was closely observing Qin Yi Ku, as if trying to determine whether the person being surrounded was him. Upon realizing it wasn't Zhao Feng, she quickly retreated and left. After a short while, a familiar voice rang out. Xiao Du. She turned around, and when she saw him, all her emotions surged. Zhao Feng smiled and asked, Xiao Du, did you just get off work? She didn't answer, only gave a slight nod. You go ahead, then let's go. They started walking together. But Zhao Feng noticed that Xiao Du kept her head lowered very low, so he asked, Are you lost in thought about something? Xiao Du remained silent, thinking about Liu Shui. She had never felt so terrified, but the presence of Liu Shui overwhelmed her. Even his face brought her nightmares. It made her wake up in the middle of the night. Noticing her silence, Zhao Feng began to talk about recent events. Maybe I haven't told you about Wu Na. She did really well on the last exam. In a month, she'll be going to Ji-Hai to attend university. Also, right now, I can't dare to show my face in Ji-Hai anymore. It seems there's a group of women looking for me to settle scores. Earlier, he had constantly said that the factory was clearing goods at the lowest price of 17 coins. But now, the selling price at the shopping mall had risen to 44 coins. On the way, Zhao Feng kept talking and laughing, trying to bring some joy to Xiao Du. However, after 10 minutes, she still kept her head down in silence. It wasn't until he shared about his recent trip back to Linshui that she stopped and, trembling, asked, "Why didn't you tell me you were coming back? I thought you weren't coming back anymore." As she said this, tears fell on her face. Hearing the news that Zhao Feng had suddenly returned to Linshui, she felt as if she had been abandoned by everyone and poured all of her sadness onto him. Zhao Feng was taken aback by her reaction. If this were 202, he would have had no hesitation in holding her tightly. But now it was 1980, and people's mindset was not as open as before. He had to consider Xiaodu's feelings. So he took her hand and led her into a small alley nearby. From the dark corner of the alley, he saw Xiaodu, like an angel with fair skin and a faint fragrance in the air, that excited him even more. Xiaodu felt his warm breath close to her, and suddenly, he embraced her. This time, she didn't resist, but silently held him tightly, savoring the warmth he brought. He gently asked, "Xiaodu, is there something on your mind?" She lowered her head in silence, not saying a word. He smiled and added, "I used to make quite a bit from selling pants, but now, I'm a millionaire." Hearing that, Xiaodu was surprised and asked again, "Really?" She still thought that selling pants only brought a profit of 2 coins. He replied with a smile at her and shone like a flower. "Really?" She laughed and said, "Great, then let's go to the restaurant to celebrate." "I'll treat you, I just got my salary minus 28 coins. Zhao Feng lowered his voice, his hands gently moving off her shoulders. "Xiaodu, right now I'm saving up to buy a house at Jihai, and we definitely won't have to suffer like before. Although you might not believe me, I hope you'll trust me just this once. I'll really treat you well. Will you marry me?" After saying this, he touched her face and gently lifted her chin. Xiaodu was stunned for a moment, then suddenly smiled and softly stroked his thin face. She paused and said, "Zhao Feng, could you give me a little time? My family still." She didn't manage to finish her sentence before he hugged her tightly. He understood that she was under great pressure, so he didn't rush, knowing that even if he had to wait a little longer, it was okay. After a long time, the two reluctantly pulled apart. When they returned home, Xiaodu heard her father shouting. Zhang Mingming was kneeling on the floor, explaining, "Dad, don't worry too much. It's not that we've lost everything. We just ran into some trouble. Please, let me explain." Xi Wenwen continued, "Dad, here's the situation. We had a very solid plan, but Qin Jinlai on the 3rd floor found a factory selling at 44 coins. Zhang Mingming confirmed, "That's right. Wenwen said that such things often happen in business. He's just trying to attract customers." Di Wenwen added, "I asked around, and although this batch is small, the price will rise to 111 coins in a few days." The father sighed in frustration as he listened to the explanations from Zhang Mingming and Xi Wenwen, then walked into the bedroom. He spoke, "Don't make it so complicated. Everyone stay calm." His voice carried a clear sense of helplessness. Zhang Mingming, frustrated and tense, said, "There are so many people importing goods in the market. Why should we be afraid of that, Qin Jinlai?" The next morning, Zhao Feng called Xu Gudao to inform him that he would be going to Guanghai the next day for a new business deal. After ending the call, he boarded the latest train of the day to save on accommodation costs. By noon the next day, when he arrived at Xu Gudao's house, he saw Xu Gudao excitedly anticipating his arrival in Guanghai. His excitement was evident on his face. He said, "Zhao Feng, sorry I'm a bit late, otherwise I would have been here since 10 o'clock. Xu Gudao patted him on the shoulder, leaned back in his chair, and continued, "Oh, before, you said you weren't selling bell-bottom pants anymore. So what are your plans?" He replied, "Mr. Xu, I remember you work at a trading company, right? Do you know that in September 1979, there was a special fair held on the Eastern Ring Road of the capital?" Zhao Feng was very impressed with the events that took place during the economic development period. He had thoroughly researched important events or famous entrepreneurs from that era. Xu Gudao thought for a moment, then said, "I remember, it wasn't just an agricultural product fair, but there were also many rare items like quartz watches and bicycles with adjustable speeds. As a result, a series of fairs emerged everywhere, such as clothing fairs, children's goods fairs, and many others." Zhao Feng laughed and said, "Exactly. Especially in 1981, toy companies from Beijing and Shanghai collaborated to organize an imported toy fair. Xu Gudao also remembered and clapped his thighs with delight. That's right, I went there. Although it wasn't very big, the items were truly novel. Zhao Feng continued. Moreover, in 1984, Beijing will host a children's clothing fair. Xu Gudao was amazed, his voice showing trust in what was about to happen. Zhao Feng suddenly realized he had spoken too hastily and quickly added, I was just speaking off the cuff. He silently thought that initially, fairs were just a method many organizations used to clear inventory. By 1980, fairs began to serve as platforms for introducing new products and became increasingly popular. People were eager for novel items from abroad. This made bell-bottom trousers stand out. Although they were expensive, they were very fashionable and considered high-end goods. Thinking of this, Zhao Feng excitedly said, Mr. Xu, we can organize a fair at the Zhihai night market. When he voiced this idea, he had thought it through carefully, not saying I'm but we, because he knew he couldn't carry out this task alone. Xu Gudao was stunned and asked, a fair? How can we do that? Organizing a fair is really complicated. Zhao Feng stepped closer and said, although it's somewhat troublesome, if you have a supply factory, everything becomes much simpler. We just need to find factories that want to sell their products. Then let them know the benefits of joining the fair. A little persuasion is all it takes. The negotiations will be easier as the fair has high sales potential. If it's beneficial, no one will refuse, as long as there are many factories involved. Then we only need to talk to the management staff of Zhihai, pay a small fee, and both sides will benefit. I believe in the success of this plan. Xu Gudao silently thought, this is a good opportunity, and I don't need to invest much. Thinking that, he looked up at Zhao Feng and asked, so how are we going to make money from this? The fact that Xu Gudao used the word we showed their collaboration, and Zhao Feng's repeated emphasis on the same word helped bind them together. Previously, he had earned thousands of coins in a short time, so it would be wrong to say that Xu Gudao wasn't jealous. Therefore, he worried that after the task was completed, the profit sharing might not be fair. Zhao Feng smiled and replied, it's very simple. We can buy some unsellable clothes from factories and sell them at the fair. This way, we can take advantage of the crowd at the fair to sell our products. Xu Gudao had some doubts, but now that he was part of the plan, he listened very seriously. Zhao Feng continued explaining, Mr. Xu, to put it simply, we buy goods from the factories at a low price, and then sell them at a higher price. At that point, I will become a supplier for the Zhihai night market, competing with other factories participating in the fair. But our products will be different from theirs, so we won't have to worry about competition. We'll use the customer flow to sell our products, provide free space for displaying the items, and help them clear out their stock. That way, everyone benefits. After hearing this, Xu Gudao slapped his thigh excitedly and said, all right, Zhao Feng. I think this is a feasible plan. Zhao Feng smiled and continued, so Mr. Qin, we need to divide the profits clearly. The profit from buying goods from the factory will be split 50-50ths, and any losses will also be shared equally. Xu Gudao nodded in agreement, with no objections, and he admired Zhao Feng even more in his heart. He asked, Zhao Feng, what should we do next? After thinking for a moment, Zhao Feng replied, first, we need to figure out which products will be the most beneficial for us, and then we can contact the factories. For now, we should focus on selling women's products since they are the primary customers. They continued discussing until late afternoon. Xu Gudao was riding the bicycle, with Zhao Feng sitting behind him and laughing continuously. At that moment, he missed the time spent with Chen Gudao. When they arrived, Chen Gudao said, Mr. Shai is the best workshop owner I know, has a very easygoing person. Back in '82, he signed an overseas distribution contract with me. At that time, the product we were making was a Sun Wukong toy, inspired by the 1964 animated film Asterisk, The Monkey King Asterisk. Unfortunately, the result was not promising. The overseas buyers refused to purchase it, so we eventually stopped the collaboration. Zhao Feng laughed and said, that's normal. Different cultures can lead to such mismatches. They don't understand our country, so how could they sell something they don't know much about? Moreover, with high production costs, the market there would definitely have a hard time absorbing it. The fact that this product lost money was predictable. He thought to himself that the 4 famous works of China had yet to be adapted into films, and the manufacturing technology was still undeveloped. Exporting toys that he thought were deeply meaningful might have been one of the worst decisions. After greeting the security guard, the two of them walked to the workshop owner's office door.